Thank you for choosing this Voice Enterprise production. Voice Enterprise is home to Wells County, Adams County, Allen County, Delaware County, DeKalb County, and BlackfordCountyVoice.com. We know you have a choice and we appreciate you choosing us. Voice Enterprises encourages you to support your local high school sporting programs by going to as many games as possible, and we offer this broadcast as a service to our listeners. These broadcasts would not be possible without the support of the sponsors you hear throughout the games. So be sure to tell them thanks any chance you get and use their services when possible. Thank you for listening. Now, enjoy the broadcast.
Campus at Yorktown High School in Yorktown, Indiana. Welcome to high school football right here on DelawareCountyVoice.com, where this Friday evening is rivalry night. The rivalry renewed, the biggest rivalry in the county. On the football field, it's the Delta Eagles and the Yorktown Tigers here on DCV. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Alongside our cameraman, Tan Jacobson, color commentators Peter Hood and Tony Sandleben, I'm Robert Connett as we get ready for what should be a classic matchup between these two schools. And guys, we already know from covering Yorktown and Delta for a couple of years now here on DCV, as you can see on your video screen, the stands are packed for tonight's game. Delta and football at it again.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting atmosphere here tonight. Absolutely. You said it, Rob. The biggest rivalry in the county. Every time Yorktown and Delta come together, one, it's a big broadcast for us because it's the two schools we cover. And two, it's a big broadcast. It's a big game in general just because these two teams are very talented programs, very successful programs. Every time they come together, the build-up to each matchup is insane.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about an electric atmosphere. Anytime these two square off in any sport, I mean, it can be football, it can be volleyball, it can be basketball, but the intensity, Tony and Rob, is especially heightened. You're talking about two teams that if it weren't for New Pal would be the best two teams in the Hoosier Heritage Conference. I mean, these are two good football teams, which makes the game that much more important, that much more fun. Can't wait to get tonight started.
And with the Hoosier Heritage Conference, like you mentioned, Peter, tonight, two big offenses as you got the first leading passer in the HHC going up against the top rusher in the HHC as Riley Neal and the Yorktown Tigers take on Cade Jones, Joe Spiegel, and the Delta Eagles. And guys, coming off of last week's games, Delta with their home opener with the victory over Shelbyville. Peter, you were on the call of that one, and getting to see the Delta Eagles throughout this season so far, they are sticking with the running game. And Joe Spiegel leading the conference with 460 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns.
Right, and it's not just Joe Spiegel either. They really do have a trio back there that you could argue is one of the best trios in northern Indiana. Joe Spiegel obviously leads the charge, has 460 rushing yards. Mason Bechtold, though, is averaging 10.5 yards a carry. He's only carried the ball 17 times this year, but he's produced 179 yards and 3 touchdowns out of those 17 carries. And then Zach Mills, here's a guy who came in from Kentucky. There was actually an article earlier this week in the Star Press about him. His first time kind of experiencing this rivalry tonight. He's not very familiar with what it's all about, but he's been great both as a fullback and a tailback this year, and he's been phenomenal on kick returns too. So they really have a trio in that backfield that they can kind of rely on to carry their offense. And you said it, they want to keep the ball on the ground. Last week they got off to a little bit of a slow start in that first half against Shelbyville. The offensive line wasn't getting the push that they needed, but they got it going in the second half, and their run game will open up their passing game, which makes this offense much more dynamic and a lot harder to stop.
That's something the Yorktown defense can't really count on, but might look forward to. Delta with their slow starts this year. But Tony, like we saw last week with the Yorktown Tigers, their defense have to be on their toes, especially against another conference opponent that has another big running game. Last week, New Pal ran all over the Tigers.
Yeah, last week we saw a pretty disappointing performance from the Yorktown Tigers. They gave up 226 rushing yards against New Palestine in a really what was a blowout loss. Not really something you want to have as the Yorktown program. Now coming into this game, it's a bit of a different story. One, Delta's not quite at the same par as New Pal, so it's a little bit of a different competition level, but also the hype is huge. as this is still crosstown rivals and that sort of thing. But one thing Yorktown has been good at, kind of other than last week, they do get out to a fast start. We saw against Indianapolis, Marshall, and Muncie Central, Yorktown offensively really got things going, especially in the passing game.
Yeah, they definitely rely on their passing game this year with Riley Neal, the Ball State commit, first in the conference so far through 3 weeks of football, leading the HHC with 644 passing yards, about 214 yards per game. We got to see a lot of him last year, but it was a balanced offense as you had Chandler Carroll running the ball all over the place for Yorktown. A little bit of a different story so far for the Yorktown Tigers, still trying to find that go-to running back in 2014.
Yeah, Yorktown is really kind of focused on the pass in the sense that it's where their continuity is. They've got, obviously, Chandler Carroll graduated. He's no longer here at Yorktown High School, but Riley Neal is, and thus that's where you put the focal point to your most experience. Now, you have 3 running backs that really are Yorktown's rushing attack. They are Dawson Allen, Jacob Stevenson, and getting the start tonight, Peyton Stites. Really, we haven't seen a front runner come out of those 3. It's really been a pretty balanced variety of carries. We've seen Peyton Stites get a number of goal line carries, thus translating to his 3 touchdown runs, but really it's been Dawson Allen who's been getting primarily the runs in between the 20s, and that really is where he get most of his yards from. Jacob Stevenson kind of comes in on passing downs, but also sees some carries as well.
Yeah, Dawson Allen with the leading rusher category, 191 yards so far, but like you mentioned, Jacob Stevenson, but it's Peyton Stites getting the start here tonight. We got a chance to talk to Coach Wilhelm before we went online here tonight. Tony, Peter, Coach Wilhelm saying that, Peyton Stites, he started this season a little banged up, wanted to work him back up to 100%. He is at 100%, and probably the reason why we're seeing him in that starting lineup here tonight.
Yeah, and he also starts on defense, so you definitely want to make sure you have a guy that does both ways at 100%. The thing is, it seems like he's kind of more of an impact on defense, which is why they kept him on the defensive side at linebacker rather than getting him into the offensive reps until he got healthy. He's healthy now. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I think it's important for Yorktown's offense as the season goes on to kind of achieve more balance. Obviously, you have Riley Neal. You have 3 phenomenal receivers to throw to, and Dungan and Miller and Carson Moore, who hasn't had his name called a lot this year, but certainly a capable wide receiver. I think for Yorktown's offense to really mature and really take it to the next level, they're going to have to achieve that balance that they found last year with Chandler Carroll. Certainly you don't expect any of these guys to produce like Chandler Carroll, but the 3 of them together I think are capable of giving this offense enough balance to be dangerous.
It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out here tonight in this rivalry matchup between Yorktown and Delta. Both teams coming in at 2-1 on the year, but Delta with that first conference win of last week, Yorktown with that loss to New Pal. So a little more on the line for Yorktown trying to get that first HHC victory of the year. We'll take a quick timeout. More of your pregame show coming up. It's Delta and Yorktown right here on DelawareCountyVoice.com.
Mobile King is your AT&T authorized dealer with locations in Bluffton, Decatur, Huntington, New Haven, and Fort Wayne. And right now, you can get a smartphone for $0.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Indiana are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. There's still a place. There's still a place where performance is enhanced by extra effort, not by performance-enhancing drugs. There's still a place where contracts are between coaches and players, and the terms are non-negotiable. There's still a place where an edge is something you gain by working harder than your opponent. There's still a place where sport is pure. That place is the high school in your community. At the Indiana High School Athletic Association, we believe that while competition can be fierce, it doesn't change the fact that it's only a game. The goal may be to win, but the point is to have fun. And if you want to be reminded of just how great sports can be when they're played the right way, then the place to be is at a high school sporting event in your community. High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message made possible by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community.
Welcome to the world of Boomer compact tractors from New Holland. We know that buying a compact tractor is an exciting time and an important decision. Our goal is to answer your questions and give you the information needed to make an informed decision.
To learn more about New Holland compact tractors, visit New Holland Tri-County Incorporated on State Road 1 South in Bluffton.
SOS Carpet Cleaning is a locally owned carpet cleaning company established in 2006. They're certain that you'll find their services the best that the Muncie and surrounding area has to offer. Customer service and satisfaction are qualities of business they feel are most important. Give them a call for your carpet cleaning or water damage needs. 765-289-0900. SOS Carpet Cleaning, 289-0900. Proud supporter of Delta and Yorktown football and volleyball on Delaware County Voice.
Delta Eagles coming onto the field as we're just a few moments away from getting this rivalry game underway here at Yorktown High School. Welcome back to the pregame show here on DelawareCountyVoice.com. It's brought to you by Greek's Pizzeria in the Village, located in the Ball State Village at 1600 West University. Taste the difference of their fresh dough made daily, and don't forget about the breadsticks. See the full menu online at GreeksPizzeria.com. As you can also see the Yorktown fans on their feet as their boys come out onto the field. And you might notice something a little bit different, guys, that it is Indiana National Guard night. Yorktown with special jerseys instead of their home green. They are now in camouflage, and some of the key Yorktown players wearing different jersey numbers tonight. That'll be interesting for our part.
Yeah, that'll actually kind of make things a little bit more difficult for us. But we asked Coach Wilhelm when we went out to talk to him kind of what the deal was. We noticed Clay Dungan is now wearing number 1, Carson Moore is wearing number 8, Trey Cates is wearing number 7, and Jacob Stevenson is wearing number 3. Coach Wilhelm said really all it was just the sizes. The sizes of each jersey were kind of weird, and so that was what we ended up with.
1 through 9 being mediums, and 10 through 50 being larges and extra larges. So it'll be interesting for our part on the Yorktown side with some of their top players wearing different numbers, but for a good purpose as Indiana National Guard night. You probably saw on your video screen the Yorktown student section wearing red, white, and blue, waving their American flags here tonight. As yesterday, obviously, everyone knows the 13th anniversary of 9/11. So here for our country, this is a big moment. And tonight we have a special presentation with a giant American flag being brought onto the field. And you can see the Yorktown student section to the right. Our cameraman, Dan Jacobson, is here in the top row of the bleachers giving you a fan's eye view tonight of this game. As you can see midfield, the American flag will be unveiled by a couple of Yorktown students and a couple of members of the Indiana National Guard. A special night here tonight at Yorktown High School, and it's always good to see this. We saw it on the basketball side last year at Yorktown where the Tigers taking on Muncie Central, another big rivalry. That's when they had Indiana National Guard night. So it's really cool to see every year Yorktown High School and some other Indiana high schools representing, this great country and the Indiana National Guard on certain nights for certain games.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, Rob, last year was an electric atmosphere for the National Guard game for basketball with Muncie Central, and certainly tonight with all these people here, and absolutely a great night for them to honor the National Guard with all these people here. Again, it's standing room only. Both sides are filled. Great showing so far by both student sections, and absolutely a great thing that they're able to honor the National Guard in this way.
Again, Yorktown coming in at 2-1 on the year, 0-1 in the HHC. Delta also at 2-1, but they picked up their first conference win in the HHC opener last week in their home opener against Shelbyville. With that loss last week, Yorktown dropped in the 3A rankings as New Pal ranked in 4A. Yorktown still in top 10, ranked at number 8 now in the state. Delta comes in at number 13. So both teams receiving votes and getting ranked in Class 3A polls just like they were for the preseason, still in there in the top 15 for Class 3A as we get ready for tonight's national anthem.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to ask all veterans and current military personnel to please stand and be recognized. like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude for the sacrifices you and your families have made to defend our nation abroad and at home. Thank you for your service. Now, at this time, please rise. Gentlemen, remove your hats as we honor the men and women who serve to protect our freedom with the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed this evening by the Yorktown Tiger Band under the direction of Chris Glover.
There we have tonight's national anthem by the Yorktown Marching Band. That's awesome. Big American flag at midfield. Yorktown wearing camouflage jerseys on Indiana National Guard night. Confetti, red, white, and blue confetti thrown from the Yorktown student section. This is awesome, and now you're going to see the Yorktown Tigers come onto the field and be welcomed by their fans here on the home side of the bleachers. And like you mentioned, Peter, the Delta side, the Delta fans, completely packed as well. We got a chance. Tony, we talked to Athletic Director Kyle Hall for the volleyball match back on Tuesday. And he said back on Tuesday, this thing was almost sold out of tickets.
And that should really tell you just how, we're not exaggerating when we say just how electric this atmosphere is. I mean, you know, everybody in high school, they have their rivals. You know, I know Fisher's HSC. Peter, you had Warren Central and Ben Davis, and so everybody knows just how crazy this atmosphere can be. And when it comes to ticket sales, when it comes to getting enough seating, it's insane. I mean, just looking at the Delta fan section right now, not just the student section, it is packed. It can't be comfortable sitting in those seats right now.
I have a feeling that they won't be sitting very much during this game, as, again, it is this big rivalry. Something interesting to note, guys, of the last 10 years, Delta has won the matchup 7 of those 10 times. But Yorktown has taken the last 2 of 3.
Right, and I talked to Coach Wilhelm earlier this week, and he told me, I kind of asked both coaches what are their fondest memories of this rivalry, because obviously, you know, these are the biggest games of the year for Yorktown and Delta, and I kind of asked both coaches. This is Coach Wilhelm's 10th year. Coach Seguna's in his 17th. They've been doing this a while. I asked each coach what's their fondest memory, and Coach Wilhelm said all the games that they've won, because they haven't won very many. And the last two of the last 3 years they've won, it's a special win for Yorktown every time they're able to beat Delta, because you're right, traditionally Delta has dominated this series, especially over the last 10 years. And I think any time that Yorktown feels they have a chance to beat Delta, they want to take full advantage. Delta is the same way, and it's just part of what makes this rivalry so special and so unique. And one more thing I wanted to add. When I was talking to both coaches, it seems like, and I think this is always important in a rivalry, there's some mutual respect between both sides. I mean, obviously, you know, there's the dislike, and it's okay for both schools to not like each other, but there's mutual respect between both coaches and both sides, and that just makes it all that better.
And one thing to point out, the last 4 matchups of these two teams, the visiting team has won. So
something for Delta.
Yeah, a little if tradition says anything, Delta's got an advantage right now.
We mentioned our cameraman Dan Jacobson is outside the press box here tonight, giving you a good view. It's the only live video broadcast of this game here tonight. Thanks for joining us here on DCV. Guys, 2 weeks ago, these guys were facing 90-degree temperatures, humidity. Last week it was storms. Tonight, It feels like real football weather
Perfect
out
night
there.
for football.
I am
Perfect
so
night.
happy about that as
Yep.
well.
And throughout the broadcast, we'll check up on Dan out there and ask him, how it's feeling, because we're here inside the press box. Dan outside with the rest of the fans here on the home side of the bleachers with his hoodie, his jeans, a little chilly, and it's only supposed to get colder.
But it's very cozy.
There you go. Kickoff by Yorktown squibbed. It will roll to the 30 and be picked up by the Eagles' Cam Carpenter, and that is how we will start tonight's ball game. The Delta Eagles will come out onto the field first. Cade Jones and company will start at the 30-yard line.
I think Yorktown's going to try to keep the ball out of Zach Mills' hands on those kickoffs. He's been very effective with kick returns this year, nearly 25 yards on each kick return. He's been able to get, again, junior Kentucky transfer, really lethal in the special teams for Delta. I think a good move by Yorktown to keep the ball out of his hands here early.
Delta with their first drive of the game, starting at the 30-yard line. Thanks for joining us here tonight on DCV. Be sure to interact and follow us on Twitter at Delaware Co Voice. Jones under center, takes the snap, will hand it off to Spiegel. He'll go up the middle, get to about the 35-yard line. Pickup of about 5 or 6 on the play. It'll be second down.
That time just a good push early on for a solid gain for Delta, Delta's offensive line getting off strong there. Spiegel wasn't really even touched until he hit 5 yards.
Again, the leading rusher in the conference, Joe Spiegel, with 153 rushing yards per game. 2nd and 5 from the 35. Jones under center once again. 2 guys in the backfield. He'll hand it off once again up the middle. It's Spiegel, and he gets to the 40, tackled right around the 41. It looks like it'll be enough for a first down. It is indeed. It'll move the chains for the white and gold.
Good first couple of plays there for Delta. Again, we mentioned their offensive line got off to a really slow start in that Shelbyville game. A good first couple of plays there. And I think, again, we talked to Coach Wilhelm right before we came up here. He thinks they're going to take a shot early. A couple of plays right there might open up some play action down the field. We'll see what happens here with Cade Jones and Tate Stone on the outside.
Yeah, definitely Yorktown defense working on the idea that although Delta is a running game, you can't hand off the idea of the passing. They will go on the ground once again. This time it's Mason Bechtel, and he might have gained a yard on the play. It'll be 2nd and 9 for Delta.
That might be Bechtel's shortest carry of the year. Again, he's averaging 10.5 yards per carry. Didn't get a lot of push there. Yorktown's defensive line did a nice job of fighting back a little bit there, if you will. But, again, I expect Delta to put the ball in the air here in these next couple of plays. Let Cade Jones loose a little bit early on.
Jones under center, 2 guys in the backfield, only 1 out to the left. Another handoff, this time it's Spiegel once again. Breaks 1 tackle, and then finally brought down by a couple of Tigers. Short of the 45-yard line, it will be 3rd down for Delta.
3rd and decent yardage. This might be where Delta puts it in the air. But then again, with how much they run the ball, a good draw play might also work.
3rd down and a long 6, a short 7, depending on how you look at it, for Delta. Ball at the 44-yard line. Jones under center once again. 1 to the left, 1 to the right. 2 guys in the backfield. Fumbled the ball. Picked back up by Jones. He's going to throw downfield, and it will be bobbled and picked off at the 25-yard line.
I think the referee's waving that one off.
Yeah,
He had it.
Ooh.
He had it. I couldn't see which cornerback that was.
I think that was Morrow.
That's number 8, Carson Moore.
Was that number 8?
And teamed up with Ryan Morrow, 22, for Yorktown. So they do rule it incomplete. As Jones looked downfield, he had Tate Stone. Stone using his height advantage, but couldn't hold on to the ball. It's 4th down.
It was an athletic play from Cade Jones just to be able to scoop that ball up, roll to his right through off balance. He got it downfield pretty well, but couldn't quite connect with Tate Stone.
A high punt will bounce right around the 25-yard line, take a Yorktown roll, and it will be down right around the 27-yard line. So Yorktown's defense forces Delta to punt, and now their offense will come out onto the field for the first time tonight. Riley Neal leading the HHC in passing yards at 214 yards per game. He and his companions will come out onto the field. His go-to receiver, Riley Miller, with 304 receiving yards. Clay Dungan, the newcomer, with 230 receiving yards. As Neal will be in the shotgun, takes the snap, looks to his left, throws, caught wide open. That's Clay Dungan in number 1 tonight, and he'll be brought down at the 35-yard line.
And one thing we got to look for, we talk about how good Riley Neal is with this passing game, but one thing Yorktown could not do at all last week was run the football. So we really will want to see Yorktown try to change that.
Neal in the shotgun once again, looks to his right this time, has Dungan once again, and he'll be brought down at the 45-yard line. Enough for a first down. Yorktown, 2 passes, 2 completions, and they move the chains.
Yeah, look for Yorktown to work the middle of the field against this Delta defense. They've kind of struggled to defend the middle of the field, especially against Shelbyville last week. When Shelbyville did pass and they were successful at it, it was usually in the middle of the field.
Fresh set of downs at the 45-yard line. Neal in the shotgun, looks to throw to his left. Dungan again has it at midfield. There'll be a gain of about 5 on the play, and already Clay Dungan with 3 receptions.
Yeah. 3 passes, 3 completions, 3 receptions by Clay Dungan. I think it's pretty clear where Yorktown wants to go with the ball tonight.
Yeah, and just short little curl routes. Delta really sagging off those receivers.
2nd and 5 at the 50. Neal will hand it off this time. Up the middle, breaks a tackle, left side. That's Stites, and he is finally brought down right around the 37-yard line. So the first running game for Yorktown moves the chains once again. A big run for the starting running back tonight. That's Peyton Stites.
And that is a run we did not see happen last week. A good, solid run, picking up a first down. Yorktown got no push from the offensive line in the running game last week.
First down, ball spotted at the 38 for Yorktown. Neal in the shotgun once again. 2 receivers to the left, 1 out to the right. Neal will hand it off to Stites once again. Gets away from one tackler, sheds another, and pushed out of bounds. Close to the 35-yard line. Again, Peyton Stites getting his first start at running back here in 2014.
And he's been banged up, but he could be the guy coming back in the lineup that kind of gives them that balance that they've been looking for, that balance that offensive coordinators dream of.
2nd and 8. Neal looking to throw. Moves in the pocket. Now he's on the run across the 35. Dives forward to about the 33-yard line. And it will be 3rd down for YHS.
And that balance you were talking about, Peter, Yorktown's got it. 6 plays, 3 runs, 3 passes.
Right, and on that last play, Delta did a nice job of kind of collapsing the pocket around Riley Neal, making him a little uncomfortable. I think if they can do that, it might make it a little bit tougher on Neal all night, and we have a jump there.
First penalty of the game as Riley Neal on the hard count brought the Delta defensive line closer to him. And the offsides will move Yorktown forward.
And looking back at last year's game, Rob, in terms of total yardage and first downs and things of that nature, the numbers were pretty even. Delta had 3 times the amount of penalties that Yorktown did in that game last year. That could be something to watch this year. Got to play more disciplined football if you're the Eagles.
So with the penalty, the ball moves forward.
That'll move the chains.
Not quite.
3rd and short here.
3rd and short. Dan's getting eager.
I understood the reference, Dan. Don't worry.
3rd and short after the penalty. Neal's going to keep it himself, push the whole line forward, and I think he got it.
That is exactly what Yorktown does. 3rd and short, any short yardage situation, when you've got a quarterback that is 6'5", they will always do a sneak with him.
And we saw Riley Neal do that a lot last week for Yorktown against New Pal, where their running game just went nowhere against the Dragons. Riley Neal sometimes had to take it himself. So he gets the first down. Neal takes the snap from the shotgun. Quick throw across the middle. It is complete. And with the reception for Yorktown, that was Jake Preston, the tight end. But he was drugged back. And a penalty is going to go against Yorktown. So he erased the reception.
Yeah, but that's another really short curl route. And I think Delta's kind of timid early. They don't want to give a big play down the field. So they're really sagging off Yorktown's receivers, giving them a lot of space in the middle of the field. And Riley Neal's going to be able to make those passes all night long.
So the penalty will push Yorktown back. Illegal block is the call from the ref.
I didn't see who that was called on, but 15 yards, that's a big penalty right there.
All the way back to the 40.
I think they called it an illegal chop block. which there's a reason why that's a big penalty. That's a dangerous play. That's a lot of times you'll see guys get back injuries, knee injuries. That's why they try to keep it out of the game.
So 1st and 25 now for Yorktown. Neal in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Looking to his left. Going to launch it downfield. He's got Miller, and he overthrew everybody. On the coverage, Trey Bland for Delta going one-on-one with Miller. That'll make it 2nd and 25.
And we've seen that before from Riley Neal. He will have someone open, and a lot of times it is Riley Miller. He'll just miss on that deep ball. It seems like it's the one flaw in his game. He's not quite as accurate as he wanted to be on the deep ball.
Neal on the shotgun. Going to take it himself up the middle and tackled by a couple of Eagles right around the 37-yard line.
That was a designed quarterback run there. I actually liked the play call there from Mike Wilhelm in Yorktown. Cameron Slavin, though, and the Delta defensive lineman did a nice job staying at home and wrapping him up there. Forces Yorktown into a 3rd and really, really long here. Delta's defense needs to get off the field right here.
3rd and 22. Two receivers in the slot, one out to the right, one to the left. Neal rolling out of the pocket to his left, being chased down. Going to throw it, and it's picked off on the sidelines by Delta. Riley Neal pressured out of the pocket, threw it on the move. I couldn't see who that was for Delta. 24, that was Mills.
Zach Mills on the interception, and it was Brayton Conley on the pressure. Delta kind of flushed Neal out of the pocket. He threw off of his back foot. I'm not sure if he was trying to just float the ball out of bounds or fit it into coverage. Either way, though, a nice job by Delta's defense to apply pressure there. But that's something they talked about all week in practice, was trying to get pressure on Riley Neal. They forced an interception there, a huge stop by the Delta defense. They get the ball in decent field position. You've got to be able to score off of the turnover.
And something we talked about Coach Wilhelm with at the beginning of the game, Yorktown really struggled in picking up blitzes last week, and Delta is a blitz-heavy defense. He's not going to be happy with his offensive line as the blitz got right through, immediately pressured quarterback Riley Neal, and it led directly, as you mentioned, Peter, to the turnover.
Short carry there on 1st down. Again, Delta trying to establish the run here early, Tony, but Yorktown's defensive line has done a nice job early of clamping that down, and I think Delta eventually is going to have to take a couple of shots.
Well, that was something else we talked about. Yorktown really needed to work on their rush defense from last week. Over 200 yards they gave up to New Pal. Looks like early on in this game they fixed a lot of the problems.
Under 6 minutes to play here in the first. Jones under center, going to launch it downfield, and that is over the head of Tate Stone, incomplete.
Would have been a difficult pass to complete there. There was the safety coming over in that cover 2 defense, and would have had to kind of float it in there perfectly to find Tate Stone. But again, 3rd down and about 9 yards to go here for Delta, kind of forced to put the ball in the air here, which is something that the Eagles aren't exactly comfortable with, as Tate Stone is really the only target that's emerged this year as a threat.
Cade Jones averaging just 150 passing yards per game, 107 of them going to Tate Stone. So far, Yorktown's defense has done a pretty good job covering Stone.
And they can key in on him because there's not very many other options.
Here we go, 3rd and 9. Jones pressured, on the move, to his left, still on the move, looking downfield, still looking, and he's going to be brought down hard as Yorktown's defense comes up with a sack on 3rd down. Leading the way for the Tigers, Blake Midlam, the senior. Now bring up 4th and 9 as Delta will be forced to punt for the 2nd time here in the first quarter.
A great job that time by Yorktown's defense. What you want to do against a run-heavy offense like Delta is force them into a lot of 2nd and 3rd and longs.
Right.
That's exactly what they did there, forcing them to pass, and then the pass rush pressure really disrupted Cade Jones's rhythm.
Miller with the punt return brings it to the 41-yard line, and Yorktown's offense quickly back onto the field. Riley Neal will try to redeem himself after picking it up or throwing a pick his last time up.
I think an impressive showing early on here by both defenses. I think on the first defensive drive of the game for Delta, They allowed Yorktown to hit those dinks and dunks, but they didn't give up the big play, which is something I think they were intent on not doing early in the game. And then, of course, that big interception after applying pressure to Riley Neal. And Yorktown's defense looked very good early as well.
So Neal in the shotgun, going to hand it off to Stites up the middle. And he's going to be brought down by a couple of Eagles right about the line of scrimmage.
And one thing we might look for, since both of these teams are very familiar with each other, look to see if maybe each team tries to turn their weakness into a strength. And what I mean by that is, we talk about Delta being a run-first team. I think maybe their passing game is going to be the difference in this one, or Yorktown, their running game.
Pickup of 2 on the play, 2nd and 8. Neal scrambles out of the pocket, runs to his right. He's going to keep it. Jukes one defender, dives forward, and brought down around the 47-yard line. It will bring up 3rd down for Yorktown. You guys made a very good point. Something that we talked about, Delta's defense off to a slow start usually in these games in the 2014 season. Yorktown doing a pretty good job. So far, so good for both sides. And a penalty.
Yeah, and again, if you're Delta's defense, this goes now from a 3rd and 8 to a 3rd and 4 to a 1st down, and just undisciplined there. Number one, your defense is going to now be on the field longer, and that's never a good thing against Riley Neal. You never want to let him have the ball for longer than he needs it, because usually he's going to make you pay. And number two, it moves him into Delta territory. It gives him a 1st down, and just not disciplined. Two penalties we've seen like that from Delta early on.
And from jumping from the defensive line standpoint, coaches are going to go nuts because they preach every day in practice, watch the football. That time they didn't. They went on the count.
1st down right around midfield. Neal going to keep it himself once again. He's across the 45, dives to the 39-yard line. Close to another 1st down. Once again, the quarterback keeper, and Neal moving the Tigers downfield.
That's Riley Neal. That's an underrated part of his game. He is sneaky athletic. I mean, he's very mobile. Those who have seen him play basketball know he's got a little bit of up in his game as well.
2nd and short for Yorktown after an 8-yard run by Riley Neal. Takes the snap, being blitzed. Here come the Eagles. Neal on the move, going to throw downfield. It is caught by Preston at the 25-yard line. Shakes one defender. He's across the 10 to the 5, trying to reach to the goal line. He'll be pushed out of bounds right around the 3-yard line. Big pickup by the tight end, Jake Preston, and Yorktown in the red zone for the first time tonight.
And that time we actually saw Riley Neal kind of get away with something that is preached from a very young age not to do as a quarterback. He ran one way and then threw back across his body. The thing was, Jake Preston was wide open in the middle of the field, and so that time it worked.
That's just Riley Neal being Riley Neal, making a play when he's flushed out of the pocket.
1st and goal at the 2-yard line. Neal in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Hands it off to Stites. He fumbled it, picked it back up, and he's brought down around the 5-yard line. That'll be a tackle for loss, as Stites didn't have control of that ball as soon as Neal handed it off to him.
That's one of those heart attack plays. You see the ball hit the ground, never even here in the press box, just but then he immediately picked it up.
It's a pretty athletic play to be able to pick that up on one bounce like that. And a huge play, too, from Yorktown's perspective.
Pretty impressive. So it's 2nd and goal now. Neal going to try it to Stites once again. And in the backfield, he's brought down by a couple of Eagles. In there on the first touch for Delta, that was 51, Brayton Conley, the senior. And Yorktown going backwards here on this goal line situation.
Yeah, Conley and Slavin and everybody on that defensive line and in that linebacking core doing a nice job getting penetration into the backfield. They've been all up in the backfield early on in this game, both pressuring Riley Neal and giving Yorktown's running backs very little room to run.
3rd and goal from the 10. Neal looking to throw across the middle. It is caught. Riley Miller for the Yorktown touchdown.
Simple slant route, and Zach Mills got beat. That's a dart right on the money, hit him right in the hands from Riley Neal. And again, when you give Yorktown an extra opportunity to score by making penalties that are avoidable, again, Riley Neal's going to make you pay 95% of the time.
And he did right there. Even after Delta got some momentum back with those run stuffs, Riley Neal, as you mentioned earlier, Peter, just became Riley Neal, threw a dart to Riley Miller for the score.
Brevin Smith with the PAT. It is good, and Yorktown strikes first. 10-yard throw into the end zone. Neal to Miller with exactly 2 minutes to play. Yorktown takes a 7-0 lead. We'll be back with more action from Tiger Stadium here on DCV.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Indiana knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
10-yard touchdown pass from Neal to Miller puts Yorktown on the board first. The kickoff will be downed by Delta at the 36-yard line with just under 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Yorktown leading the Eagles 7-0. And guys, a good stand by Yorktown's offense. 2 straight running plays by Stites, goes backwards, but Neal able to throw it to Miller, put the Tigers on the board.
As we're turning my mic on here, there we go. Again, you can't give Riley Neal extra chances to beat you, and Delta did with that penalty, giving Yorktown a free first down. Made a nice throw downfield after escaping from the pocket after being flushed out, and then that dart to the end zone hit Riley Miller right in the hands.
Delta with the running game. That's Joe Spiegel up the middle, and he got wrapped up in the backfield. A loss of 1 on the play will bring up 2nd and 11.
Yeah, we saw Kay Jones fumbled the snap once again, totally threw off the rhythm of that play. Still made the pitch out, which was kind of impressive. Typically you see that happen, that's risking a turnover, but the pitch occurred. Either way, Yorktown's defense was right there.
This has been kind of similar to the first quarter that Delta got off to last week against Shelbyville. Not getting very much push from the offensive line. Spiegel with not a whole lot of room to run.
2nd and 11. Throw to the right side. It is caught at the 40-yard line for Delta and quickly brought down on the reception for the Eagles. And that was Zach Mills.
Yeah, Zach Mills, the fullback, out of the backfield. He found him in the flat, but Yorktown's defense, guys, looks really fast. I mean, they're making tackles, they're wrapping up, and again, Delta not able really to get anything going on the ground, and when they have tried to put it in the air, it's been really good coverage downfield and in the flat for Yorktown.
3rd and 6 for Delta. They have been forced to punt on their first 2 drives here tonight. Ball at the 40. Man in motion. Going right to left for Delta. That's Trey Bland. Across the middle. And incomplete. Diving for the catch was Tate Stone, but he could not hold on. And that will bring up 4th down.
And Tate Stone that time ran a good route. Really, he was open. Just Kay Jones's pass, a little inaccurate, forcing him to dive for the ball. Made the catch, really, but it hit the ground. Ground helped him make the catch. That's an incomplete pass.
And that also kind of attributes to Yorktown's coverage downfield. That window was so tight for Jones to throw to. He didn't have much margin for error. I think that kind of caused the bad ball.
High punt drifting to the left side. A bounce at the 35. Roll out of bounds. So Delta goes 3 and out once again, and Yorktown's offense back onto the field after putting it into the end zone their last time up.
Again, if you're Delta's defense here, you certainly want to make a stand. You don't want to let Yorktown get out to a 2-score lead. Again, Delta's offense is primarily built off running the football, and as we all know with football, guys, a lot harder to come back when you're trying to run the ball as opposed to throw it. So I think Delta's defense really needs to make a nice stand here.
Drive will start at the 35 for Yorktown. Neal in the shotgun. Quick throw out to the left side. That is caught. Carson Moore wearing number 8 tonight with his National Guard jersey, and he takes it to the 45.
Quick pass out on the left side.
Almost looks like, again, they're just giving them those short throws, trying to avoid the big downfield play.
And, Tony, we saw that last week at New Pal in that first quarter where Yorktown was able to put up 13 points. They moved down the field with those short passes.
Yeah, the dink and dunk plays have really been working for Yorktown's offense so far this year. We saw New Pal get out to a really fast start, going up 21-0 halfway through the first quarter, and then Yorktown kind of took off with their offense, put up 13 points with those dink and dunk throws from Riley Neal to, you've got flat routes, maybe short slants, outs. Either way, it's been working.
We have reached the end of the first quarter. Yorktown leading Delta 7-0. Your second quarter coming up after the break here on DelawareCountyVoice.com.
Greek's Pizzeria in the Village, serving Muncie and Ball State for 35 years. Stop in and taste the difference of dough made fresh daily and the finest ingredients. Located in the Ball State Village at 1600 West University. Our menu is online at GreeksPizzeria.com or call us at 765-284-4900. That's 284-4900. It's our taste. Greek's Pizzeria in the Village.
Welcome back to Tiger Stadium. Robert Connett, Tony Sandleben, Peter Hood, and Dan Jacobson with you here on DCV. A big broadcast for a big game as we get ready to start the second quarter. Yorktown leading Delta 7-0. Two teams switch sides, and Yorktown will continue their drive. 2nd and 1. The blitz brought by Delta, launching downfield, and Riley Neal overthrows his receiver, and the intended receiver, Clay Dungan, down the sidelines, wide open, but overthrew him.
And again, we see that just the accuracy on the deep ball, not there. We see him overthrow his receivers a number of times. That'll be something he'll have to work on, that being Riley Neal, for his future.
And that's something you give up when you bring a blitz. And Delta blitzes a lot, and I think that they're comfortable as Yorktown rushes ahead for a couple of yards here. I think Delta's comfortable that Riley Neal's not going to be able to make those throws downfield if they're able to pressure him and get in his face. And Riley's kind of proven that early on here. When he's been flushed out of the pocket, he's only made a couple of throws downfield.
Quarterback keeper for Neal, and he moves the chains for Yorktown on the short gain. So 1st and 10 near midfield as he's got 3 receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. Neal looking to his right, throws it, caught by, Dungan dropped it. Had to jump up high in between defenders and could not hang onto the ball as he came back down to earth.
A rocket throw, though, that time from Riley Neal, throwing into some tight coverage. It's kind of a good thing that ball went high, because otherwise that was a dangerous pass.
And Neal already with 1 interception here tonight.
Can't question Riley Neal's arm strength, though, can you?
Oh, man, he's got power. So that brings up 2nd and 10. Neal in the shotgun once again. Hands it off up the middle, and a big push and a big gain across the 45 to the 43-yard line. And I believe that was Jacob Stevenson.
But that's another player wearing another number, I believe. So I think, was it 2?
Dawson Allen was the name I heard over the PA. But
yeah, that is number. Yeah, that was Dawson Allen, wearing number 2.
Regardless of who it was, a huge hole. He could have driven a semi-truck through that thing.
3rd and short. Again, Neal will keep it on the situation. Gets across the 40, and I believe that's enough for a first down. And it is. So once again, on a 3rd and short, the quarterback keeper, Riley Neal, moving the chains once again for the Tigers.
And notice how, Rob, so far, the Delta really came into this game wanting to control time of possession, keep the ball out of Yorktown's offense's hands. So far, it's been Yorktown controlling the time of possession, putting some long drives together.
Yorktown's gotten their running game onto par for
exactly.
sure.
Ball at the 40, fresh set of downs for Neal. Rolls out to his right, looking to throw. Caught by Preston, the tight end, across the 35. Pushed out of bounds right around the 28-yard line. Another big gain for the tight end, Jake Preston, who had that big reception in the first quarter that led Yorktown to that touchdown. Jacob Preston doing a pretty good job at the slot.
Yeah, but also someone else is doing a great job is the Yorktown play caller. The balance that we've been looking for, by my count, 13 runs, 10 passes.
Another first down. Neal, this time rolling out to his left, pressured, caught on the near side, or the far sideline rather, for the Tigers, and
that's going to come back.
Jake Preston with the reception once again, but yeah, there was a penalty in the backfield.
Yeah, that flag almost looked like it sailed on the referee there, but yeah, that's pretty sure that's going to be offensive holding, I believe, on Dawson Allen. On pass protection, blitz came through, and there was holding right there by Riley Neal.
Yeah, David Smeckens was on the pressure there trying to get to Riley Neal, and like you said, I think it was the tailback Dawson Allen that held, but had no other choice, really. Delta, again, likes to blitz a lot. They've been pretty successful with the blitz calls today. Riley Neal's made a couple of throws downfield, but hasn't made all the throws. But overall, like you said, Tony, Yorktown's offense really running the ball effectively for the most part here in this first half.
Yeah, I think the only thing Coach Wilhelm can say right now that he's not happy about with his offense is the fact that the blitzing is still an issue.
Right.
And we mentioned that throughout the year that Yorktown's got some inexperience at the offensive line. They had to replace a lot of guys that graduated, and that's kind of contributed to them not picking up blitzes as well. But still, Yorktown has stayed in rhythm. They've stayed balanced, and they've been moving the ball effectively here tonight.
43 rushing yards compared to 91 passing yards in that first quarter for the Yorktown offense. 1st and 10. Handoff up the middle. And that's Dawson Allen once again to the 10-yard line. Ball came loose, but the referee signaled him down first. Allen with a big carry on the ground moves the Tigers inside the 10.
And that is a great way to beat the blitz. They called a quick draw play there. The pass rush came up. It was an all-out blitz almost, it looked like, from the Delta defense, and they completely over-pursued Dawson Allen, who just slipped right out of there, picked up a huge gain.
Yeah, really nice play call there by Mike Wilhelm and company.
Pickup of 9. They'll make it 2nd and 1, and now the referee's going to blow their whistle.
He's going over to the Delta sideline, and somebody on the Delta sideline is not happy.
No, and he was screaming at the far sideline.
I think, and I'm not sure
there.
here, I think there was a couple of guys on that Delta sideline that wanted a holding or of some sort.
Everything taken care of. Pickup of 9 for Allen makes it 2nd and 1. Neal going to the corner, and again, overthrows Miller.
Good coverage there by Zach Mills in the corner of the end zone, just trying to run a simple fade for Riley Miller, and like you said, he overshot him. Riley Neal maybe feeling a little bit too much adrenaline tonight. A couple of those balls he's put a little bit too much juice on.
Yeah, that's been his struggle so far in this first half, is overthrowing some receivers downfield. So now it's 3rd down at the 9. Neal going to take it himself up the middle, bounces off one defender. He is across the goal line. Riley Neal with a touchdown. Yorktown leads it 13-0.
And Riley Neal just looking like a fullback on that play, bounced off a defender and then just had a clear lane to the end zone. Great job on the second effort by the quarterback nonetheless.
And how about Yorktown? The 2 drives that they put together for scoring drives both took about 4 or 5 minutes off the clock. Again, pretty good balance with both the run game and the pass game. And Riley Neal's been very effective in beating the blitz by keeping the ball on the ground. I think they've run some read plays for him, and he's run them to perfection. And Yorktown off to a 14-0 lead, and again, making it that much more difficult for the Delta offense to get going.
The PAT was blocked, though.
Yeah, it was.
That might be something that'll get Delta a little excited, but that's the thing, Peter. You talked about one thing you do not want to do against a high-powered offense like the Yorktown Tigers, especially if you're a primarily run-first team, is fall behind early. They're now down 2 scores despite that blocked PAT. Delta's really got to get something going here.
And again, this has been kind of an issue with Delta, at least in 2 of the first 3 games of the year. They got off to a really slow start, especially the first offensive drive of the game and the first half overall against Shelbyville. Even the first game of the year against Jay County, who's a far inferior opponent, they let them score the first touchdown of the game on a 15-play, 8-minute drive to start that game, which is something that the coaching staff was not happy at all about. So they've kind of been notorious for slow starts early on in the season, and this one might come back to bite them because they have not played an opponent as good as Yorktown so far this year.
13-0. Yorktown leads it with 9:39 to play here in the first half. Reminder that this broadcast brought to you and powered by AT&T Mobile King, where you can get a smartphone for 0% down. AT&T, proud sponsor on all 6 websites of the Voice Sports Network. Thanks for joining us here tonight on Delaware County Voice. Yorktown leading Delta 13-0. Neal has a 10-yard touchdown pass and a 9-yard touchdown run. As Yorktown will kick it, bounce at the 30, it will stay in bounds, and it will be down by the Eagles at the 25, and a late penalty thrown. That might be a late hit against Yorktown.
I think that will be a late hit against Yorktown. You saw the Yorktown defender come in. I couldn't really see because there were players in the way, but there may have been helmet-to-helmet contact when the player was already down, in which case, yep, there it is.
Yep, and that was David Smeckens covering the ball for Delta. Our cameraman Dan Jacobson had a good view. Dan, helmet-to-helmet?
Yeah, it looked like actually one of the Yorktown players might have tried ripping the ball out of one of the guy's hands.
Yeah, I didn't see exactly what happened there, but certainly
late
beneficial for Delta. They'll get 15 yards tacked on here, which will certainly help them in terms of field position and help Cade Jones in trying to get this offense moving. Going back to the slow start thing real quick here, guys. How about this? Through the first 3 games of the season, Yorktown is averaging 24 points per first half. Delta is averaging just 7. They have not scored a point in the second quarter of any of their games this year.
Wow. Trying to change that here in the 4th week of 2014. Handoff up the middle, across midfield. Joe Spiegel with a good gain, but a good shoestring tackle by Jake Preston might have saved a Delta touchdown as Spiegel looked to be gone.
Yeah, Spiegel was ready to take off into the secondary for Yorktown, but a good effort there by Jake Preston, basically just hanging on for dear life, making sure he got nothing more and tripped him up.
Gain of 9 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 1, ball right on the 50-yard line. Keeping it himself, Cade Jones trying to punch it up the gut, and it looks like he just might have enough for the first down, depending on where the refs spot it, and they do signal to move the chains.
Yeah, I think so important for the Delta offense to try to get some momentum rolling here. They really need to score on this drive to get some points on the board and also to get some momentum going offensively. Again, they just have not been able to get any push up front. Cade Jones has not been able to connect with Tate Stone at all either, so trying to get some positive things rolling. A good first couple of plays. They're into Yorktown territory with the first down.
Fresh set of downs for the Eagles. Under 9 to play here until halftime. Jones under center. Going to hand it off in the backfield and brought down is Spiegel. That was Tristan New with the tackle, the sophomore. He was coming in with 9 tackles on the year, and he comes up with a big one there.
And that time it was another draw play, this time by Delta, trying to take advantage of the aggressive Yorktown front. That time Yorktown not having it.
And Yorktown's really loading up on that box. They're almost daring Delta to throw the football. Delta kind of being stubborn, trying to establish that run. They're trying to do what they do, but they're going to have to let Cade Jones free a little bit here because right now Yorktown's defensive line is not budging.
2nd and 11 for Delta. Jones looking to pass downfield, and it's right over the head of Colin Hart, the intended receiver. That'll bring up 3rd and long for the Eagles.
Colin Hart had his man beat here on the near side. Jones would have had to make a throw there because he would have had to put a nice amount of touch on that ball in order to complete it, but he's missed a couple of throws tonight that I'm sure he wishes he could have back.
That one being one of them for sure.
Right.
We've seen that on both sides of the ball. Riley Neal has overthrown his receivers tonight as well.
And that could be, as you mentioned, guys, it could be that adrenaline pumping. I mean, we talked about in this game just how electric this atmosphere is with in-town rivals.
So a big third down for both sides of the ball. Spiegel in the backfield. Jones under center, looking to throw. Now on the move, he decides to keep it himself. Across the 45, going towards the sideline to the 40. Brought down out of bounds.
And this one may be coming back as well. There was an early flag, I believe, that was thrown right at the beginning of the play, and it might have been for an illegal formation.
Yeah, we'll see what the referees call here. And if this is against Delta, that erases. No, it's going against Yorktown.
Oh, sideline violation, I believe is what that call would be. I'm not sure what that was for.
I'm not sure either, but I think that's going to be added on to the end of the – either that or it's going to be declined, but a huge play there made by Cade Jones, escaping the pocket after he slipped on his drop. An athletic play to be able to find the hole up the middle. He got to the outside, got the yardage he needed. That's a huge play for this Delta offense.
And a smart play at the end of the play to dive through that first down marker. He got it.
And that's a big-time play by a senior who's trying to will his team, will his offense to get something going here.
Here we go. A fresh set of downs for Delta. They trail by 13, 7 minutes till halftime. Inside the 40. Quick handoff up the middle to Spiegel, and he ran into a brick wall of Tigers. Might have picked up a couple yards. Actually, they're going to spot that at the 35-yard line. He actually picked up 4.
But once again, after the early drives, we saw Delta get something going a little bit on the running game, but ever since then, Yorktown's defensive front has not moved.
Yeah, like you said, Tony, in that first drive, Delta was able to get a couple of punches up the middle, but since then, Yorktown's defensive line has been stalwart. I mean, they've been absolutely great, and Delta's offensive line kind of experienced a little bit what they had last week, just not able to get much push.
2nd and 7 for Delta. Jones looking to throw again, downfield, and it is picked off at the 30-yard line. It's Carson Moore with the interception.
And again, Cade Jones throwing way behind the receiver. He had the safety coming over the top. He was being a little bit too careful there, threw way behind. Carson Moore was in perfect position. Great coverage by him. And another killer mistake by the Yorktown, or the Delta team, And Yorktown's going to have a chance here with a lot of momentum and a lot of rhythm offensively to take a 3-score lead before halftime.
And we talk about how really everything has been going Yorktown's way in this game. The first 4 drives for Delta, punt, 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 and now an interception.
And it looked like things were going so well for Delta. After that big pickup by Cade Jones, then throws the interception. Now Riley Neal and company back on. Quick throw out to the right, caught by Moore, but he went nowhere, as he is quickly brought down by Zach Mills, the junior.
Makes the catch for the Tigers. He's wrapped up immediately.
They will spot the ball at the 16-yard line.
Almost imperative here, Rob, for Delta's defense to get a stop. Keep in mind, Yorktown gets the ball to start the second half, and if they're up 3 scores, the score at the beginning of the second half could really separate these two teams.
Neal looking to throw across the middle, caught by Preston, the tight end, once again at the 25-yard line, pushes his way forward to the 28. Jacob Preston has been having a great game here in the first half for the Yorktown receiving yards.
He has really emerged, and after being pretty quiet as far as the receptions are concerned throughout the beginning of this year, Jake Preston has stepped up in a big way in a big game. He's been feasting over the middle of this Delta defense.
He's over 60 receiving yards here in the first half. So a fresh set of downs for the Tigers. Fake handoff. Neal going to keep it himself up the middle. Got tripped up at the 35, brought down at the 37.
Like I said earlier, they've run a couple of read options for Riley Neal today. He's done a nice job running them. Again, he's kind of sneaky mobile, and I think defenses don't really account for that because of the arm that he has on him, but certainly done a nice job running the ball tonight, and he's doing a nice job running this offense overall. Just so impressive to watch him work.
Pickup of 9 on the play for Riley. 2nd and 1 for Yorktown at the 37. 2 in the backfield. Neal going to keep it himself again up the middle. Dives across the 40-yard line into the 41. Enough for a first down. Riley Neal has been doing work moving the chains for Yorktown's offense here tonight.
And the thing is, it makes such a big difference in high school football. We mentioned Riley Neal is 6'5", 6'6". He's a big, tall, lanky guy, and he uses that to his advantage. If he falls down, he gains about 4 yards.
Neal fakes the handoff, throws across the middle, off of the hands of Riley Miller, and incomplete.
Yeah, a little bit too much juice on that one again from Riley Neal. A nice route, just a simple slant across the middle, and Neal just put a little bit too much juice on that one on the play action.
Yeah, the ball sailed on him a little bit, but at the same time, if you're a wide receivers coach, the ball hit Riley Miller in the hands. Still think he should have caught it.
Right. That's a ball Miller usually will catch, too.
Second down at the 41. Neal takes the snap, decides to keep it again, dives to the 45. It'll be a pickup of about 4 on the play.
You know who's liking what he's seeing tonight from Riley Neal? Head basketball coach Greg Miller. Riley Neal's getting his conditioning for basketball season out there tonight. I mean,
I was going to say Coach Limbo.
Coach,
I was going to say that too. Yeah,
absolutely.
The Ball State commit doing work for Yorktown here tonight on the passing side of the ball and the running side. Hard count, and this time it was a full start by the offensive lineman for Yorktown. I believe that was 67, Daniel Lavoie.
And that's going to be the 4th penalty on Yorktown compared to Delta's 2, and that time just false start penalties when crowd noise isn't really a factor when you're at home. That's just something you got to pay attention in the huddle to what the snap count is.
I think penalties, though, for this Yorktown offense hurt. I mean, obviously you don't have any penalties, but I think penalties for this Yorktown offense don't hurt nearly as much as they would for Delta's offense because, again, they have a quarterback that can sit back there on 3rd and 11 who can make those throws downfield to get the first down.
So after the penalty, it's 3rd and 10 for Yorktown. Neal looking to throw, looking downfield, now decides to take it, throw it across the middle, caught by Miller at midfield, across the 40, and brought down at the 36-yard line right at the last second.
Yeah.
Yorktown, Riley Neal decides to throw it, caught by Miller, and another first down.
That's just Riley Neal being Riley Neal. He felt the pressure, he stepped up in the pocket, an off-balance throw hit his man right in the hands, and that's just Riley Neal making a Riley Neal play.
All the way to the 36. Yorktown leading by 13 as we hit the 3.5-minute mark.
Riley Neal also showed off his arm strength there. That was all arm on that bullet.
Neal the shotgun on the fresh set of downs. Rolls out to his right. Throw caught by Preston across the 30 and brought out of bounds near the 25-yard line. And Jake Preston, the tight end, coming in on the season, had 45 receiving yards.
On 3 receptions, and I think he's got 4 tonight.
He's at least doubled his season total.
Yeah, and again, Delta really leaving the middle of the field open, and guys like Jacob Preston are going to have opportunities because of that.
2nd and 2. Handoff to Allen across the 25. Has a couple of teammates helping to push him forward a couple more yards. Should be plenty enough for the first down. It is. So Yorktown quickly moving down the field. They've been excellent on their play selection. We've been talking about it all night tonight, guys. Pass, run, pass, run, pass, run.
And the chains are moving. Right, guys?
That's correct, Dan.
All right.
Fresh set of downs for Yorktown at the 24-yard line. One receiver to the left, to the right. Neal takes the snap, keeps it himself across the 20, dives forward to about the 19. And they're just going to keep doing this all night. Delta has not come up with a way to stop Riley Neal.
Yeah, well, why stop? And when I talked to Coach Wilhelm earlier this week, he mentioned he wanted his offensive line to get more of a rhythm, get back to what they were doing before the New Pal game. They've done a great job here in this first half, and Riley Neal and company have looked great running the ball. And not only this, Rob, they're burning time off of the clock here.
That's
I mean,
right.
they're controlling time of possession in this game.
Neal looking to his left, throws it across, and it is caught near the sidelines. That's Clay Dungan. We haven't called his name in a while, but Dungan with another reception inside the 10-yard line for Yorktown as they look to go up by 3 scores, nearing the 2-minute warning here in the first half.
Delta needs a big play here. They need to cause a turnover. They need something. At least hold them to 3 points. That way you have a little something to kind of build on going into the locker room here late in the first half.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Tony.
First and goal at the 9-yard line for Yorktown. Neal in the shotgun, hands it off to Stites, who's back in. Goes across the 5, breaks a tackle, dives towards the goal line. Is he in? No, they call him just short of the goal line, but Peyton Stites with another carry takes it to about the 2-yard line.
And Peyton Stites just bulldozing over defenders for Delta, and I think we're going to see another sneak here from Riley Neal.
There's a flag on the field.
Yep. They tried to punch it up the gut. They signal a touchdown, but the referee in the backfield threw the flag, and it's going against Yorktown.
Yeah, it's going to be a legal motion for Yorktown. I think their offensive players, not all of them were set. A lot of times you try to be quick on those goal line situations, especially when you go on a quarterback sneak. And when you have a habit of doing that, especially for Yorktown, you always run right quickly. The thing is, you go a little too fast.
You got to be
sometimes,
set.
Yeah,
right.
Sometimes your own players aren't set yet.
Penalty will push the ball back to the 7-yard line. Second down and goal there for Yorktown.
Again, doesn't hurt Yorktown too much, though. Second and goal from the 7-yard line, and again, you've got Riley Neal as your quarterback.
Second down and goal after the penalty. Neal keeps himself. Another penalty flag is thrown as Neal going towards the goal line. He's down short, but we'll have to wait on the flag again.
I didn't see an illegal motion that time.
Meanwhile, the audience is getting free T-shirts. See if I can get one.
Oh, they're going to call illegal shift again.
Again.
And Carson, I saw Carson Moore's reaction. He wasn't happy. I'm not sure if it was on him. Either way, Yorktown going backwards again, and they're kind of pushing themselves out of a potential scoring opportunity. This is good for Delta, though.
Right.
We talked about, you really want to hold them to 3 points here to get something going into the halftime.
Again, though, Delta's got to take advantage here of these Yorktown mistakes. When Yorktown makes these mistakes, if you're Delta, you got to take advantage. And like you said, Tony, so imperative here to try to hold Yorktown to no more than 3 points. Looks like Coach Wilhelm's still looking for an explanation on those last couple of penalty calls.
Neal looking to throw on second down, trying to get away from defenders, and he's going to be brought down in the backfield at the 15-yard line.
That time Delta came with a huge blitz, and Yorktown's offensive line did not pick it up whatsoever. Riley Neal was immediately pressured when he took the snap.
We're going to have a timeout called here. It looks like our whistle blew. I'm not sure exactly what for anyhow. That was the first time that they'd actually been able to bring Neal down tonight. They'd gotten some pressure a couple of times, but finally able to get to him there and bring him to the ground. And again, huge third down here for the Delta defense.
Third and goal at the 15-yard line. 1 minute to play in the half. Neal looking to throw quickly to the left side. It is caught, juking one defender. Another flag is thrown in the backfield as the reception by Clay Dungan across the sidelines, and another penalty going against Yorktown. That is 3 straight.
That might be going against.
Now
did they call that on Riley Neal?
They called that on Yorktown. And some Tigers looking for an explanation.
Yeah, we're gonna await.
The flag was thrown right at Riley Neal's feet long after the ball was gone.
It was called a personal foul. So I'm not sure if maybe a taunting penalty or.
Yeah, you got Jake Preston coming over. He's trying to talk to Coach Wilhelm. You got most of the Yorktown offensive guys trying to talk to Wilhelm. It's as if they don't understand what they're doing wrong.
And I don't think Coach Wilhelm does either.
Neal, Miller, Dungan, and Preston were all talking to Coach Wilhelm on the sideline. Another big penalty for Yorktown.
That pushes them out of field goal range,
Yeah,
too.
I was going to say, they had second and goal at the 2-yard line. They are now all the way back.
That's a huge call.
At the 30.
And I'm not sure if
that's the 35.
It had to be Neal said something to David Smeckens. That's the only thing I can guess.
And the thing is, it's third and goal from the 30-yard line. 35.
Certainly they'll be conservative here, I would think.
Third and goal.
Or take
Neal
a shot.
Has to launch it downfield. He's trying to get Miller in the end zone. Has got it for the touchdown! Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable. Yorktown pushing themselves back. This is exactly what Delta could not do. Yorktown was pushing themselves back, shooting themselves in the foot. You have 2nd and goal at the 2, all the way back to 3rd and goal at the 35-yard line, and still get the ball into the end zone. Unbelievable.
There are maybe 3 or 4 teams in the state there that are going to take that shot to the end zone on 3rd and goal from the 35-yard line, but when you have Riley Neal as your quarterback, why not?
Holy Toledo.
Again, most teams are going to be conservative there on 3rd and goal from the 35, but wow.
PAT by Smith is up and splits the uprights. That makes it 20-0. A 35-yard touchdown pass from Neal to Miller, the second time they have connected tonight.
And finally we see Riley Neal connect on the deep throw. He had been struggling all night trying to hit that deep pass. He'd been overthrowing his receivers. That time a perfectly thrown ball right into the hands of Miller. Beautiful play.
And that is a backbreaker for Delta and their defense. You force Yorktown back 33 yards on a couple of penalties. It's 3rd down and goal again from the 35-yard line, and you give up a touchdown on that play. Huge momentum swing there for Yorktown, and devastating for Delta. And again, Yorktown gets the ball first to start the second half, keep in mind.
I've got to say, the Tigers have just dealt a harsh blow to the Eagles.
Well,
I like it, Dan.
There you go, Rob. There it was.
I like it, Dan.
Everybody. I was waiting. He always brings a pun to every broadcast. There it is.
Every time you guys give me a set of headphones.
Oh, man. I got to tell you, it doesn't feel right up in this press box for a Yorktown Delta game without Wes Lorenz here. There's something. There's something missing.
Kickoff going to be fielded by Delta at the 36-yard line as Yorktown goes up by 3 scores with 33 seconds left until the break.
And you wonder what Delta's going to do here. They may just sit on the ball and go into the locker room. They may try to get something together, a little bit of rhythm to get going into the locker room. If they score any kind of points, that'd be huge.
I think Delta's just trying to get in the locker room here. I look for them to keep the ball on the ground and stay conservative. And I say that, but the last time the ball was out on that 35-yard line, we saw a shot taken downfield.
Yeah.
So, what do I know?
We'll see what Cade Jones
I formation.
and his crew, yep. Jones under center. Fakes the handoff, rolls out to his right, looking to throw downfield. It is caught at the 45-yard line. That was Darren Stoltz, the tight end.
Right.
What a throw there by Cade Jones.
Best throw he's made all night.
Right in a double coverage, somehow completed that ball. You're absolutely right,
And
Peter. It's amazing throw.
After making the catch, Stoltz has taken his helmet off, and he's going to the sidelines.
That's not good.
That's not good at all for Delta.
He really sets the edge for that Delta offensive line. He doesn't catch a lot of passes, but he's big for this team on both sides of the ball.
Clock winding down, the final 18 seconds of the half. Jones throws to the left side, caught at the 35 or 45-yard line. Colin Hart takes it to the 35.
And we're seeing Yorktown's defense playing very conservative, especially in the secondary, playing way off these receivers. That time a little skinny slant post worked that time for Colin Hart. Cade Jones connected for a big game.
Well, we just had it brought back, guys. A chop block called on Delta, so that one's coming back. Unfortunate for Delta, as again, Cade Jones just made a couple of nice throws. That would have at least put them in position to throw a Hail Mary before halftime, but now only 10 seconds left.
And if your coach is a guy that has to kill.
Yeah, and again, penalties that are avoidable in this first half have really come back to bite Delta.
And, Peter, you brought up a great point earlier that I want to touch base on one more time. Earlier in the broadcast, you said that every time Delta gets a penalty, it's a lot more it's a much bigger deal.
Right.
Delta has 3 penalties. Yorktown has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But look what the score is.
Exactly.
Jones rolling out to his right, going to keep it himself and step out of bounds near the 40-yard line. That will end the first half. Yorktown will head into the locker room with a 20-point lead over their rivals. 20-0. We've hit halftime here at Tiger Stadium. Their halftime report coming up next right here on DelawareCountyVoice.com. Stay tuned.
They are role models and educators. Their work requires a great deal of time and energy for very little pay. Who are these unsung heroes?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
The simple truth about education-based athletics in Indiana is this. Without a committed team of coaches and administrators, it just wouldn't be possible. School sports, they bring out the best in all of us. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Mobile King is your AT&T authorized dealer with locations in Bluffton, Decatur, Huntington, New Haven, and Fort Wayne. And right now, you can get a smartphone for $0 down with AT&T Next, a new way to get a new device every year with no down payment, no activation fee, no upgrade fee, no finance fee. AT&T Next. Visit your local Mobile King for complete details or visit online at mymobileking.com. Requires a 12-month 0% APR installment agreement and qualifying credit. Wireless service plan required.
You began building your resume when you enrolled in the EPIC program at the University of St. Francis, a defining moment for your future. EPIC students are led by accomplished professors who believe in you and are there to guide you through a business program that provides work experience and executive mentorship. Don't just get a degree. Get experience and a resume that can only be described as
impressive.
The University of St. Francis. This is your moment. Believe.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The Tigers have won! In sectional 80-68, the Tigers knock off the number 3 ranked Bishop Luers.
For over 5 years, the Voice Sports Network has brought you coverage of high school sports in Northeast and East Central Indiana.
Arias breaks a tackle, gets to the outside. Boom, big block by Travis Crow, touchdown. Arias Vasquez, wow.
Since the start in 2009, the Voice Sports Network has expanded to 6 different websites in Wells County, Adams County, Allen County, Delaware County, DeKalb County, and Blackford County, bringing you broadcasts of football, volleyball, boys and girls basketball, baseball, and softball for 17 different high schools.
Back by Gillis as a sophomore. Yorktown has it. Kastner will give it a go. Boom! Marley Kastner.
Thanks to the fans and sponsors for the continued support of the Voice Sports Network.
High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport.
Pure determination. Nothing is going to stand in the way of my becoming the best student athlete I can be.
Pure spirit, pure sport.
Pure leadership. I don't just play an important role on my team. I play an important role in my community.
Pure spirit, pure sport.
Pure sportsmanship. I recognize the attitude counts, and that being a good sport is the only way to play.
There are plenty of ways student athletes in Indiana demonstrate the values of high school sports. At the Indiana High School Athletic Association, we salute each and every one of them. The IHSAA, pure spirit, pure sport.
Pure effort.
Pure dedication, pure Indiana.
This message made possible by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community.
Cardinal Foot and Ankle is a proud sponsor of Yorktown Volleyball and Delaware County Voice. Dr. Todd Reed and his staff at Cardinal Foot and Ankle provide comprehensive podiatry and foot and ankle care. From sports injuries and fractures of the foot and ankle to diabetic foot complications and reconstructive surgery, Dr. Reed has been serving Muncie and East Central Indiana for nearly 20 years. Don't suffer with foot and ankle pain. See the experts at Cardinal Foot and Ankle.
Interact with Delaware County Voice through social media. Like us on Facebook, simply search Delaware County Voice. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Delaware Co Voice. We'll let you know of any breaking news from the schools in the county, when our next broadcasts are, and post updates during the games. DelawareCountyVoice.com on Facebook and Twitter.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Indiana. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The town of Yorktown is blessed with a little library with a big heart, offering the latest bestsellers, new release movies, books on CD, magazines along with computer classes, book clubs for adults and young adults, reading programs, story time, and much, much, much more. Take a moment to see the wonders within the walls of the Yorktown Library, 8920 Adeline Street in Yorktown, or visit online at yorktownlib.org. SOS Carpet Cleaning is a locally owned carpet cleaning company established in 2006. They're certified by the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, and Restoration in carpet cleaning as well as emergency water restoration. They're certain you'll find their service the best that the Muncie and surrounding area has to offer. Customer service and satisfactions are qualities of business they feel are most important, and unfortunately, there's been a decline in these areas, and they're ready to prove that they still exist. Give SOS Carpet Cleaning a call for carpet cleaning or water damage needs. 765-289-0900.
In Fort Wayne, two sisters make a historic splash when they swim their way to a pair of individual state titles.
In Evansville, a boys and girls soccer team become state champions in the same year for the same school, claiming their place in Indiana history.
In Bloomington, 12 young men combine their talents, check their egos, and net a basketball state title.
High school sports have provided us with as many inspirational stories as there are towns in Indiana.
In Valparaiso, a gymnastics team scores a perfect season, winning a record 7th state championship for their school in the process.
A football team south of Indianapolis refuses to lose, comes from behind, and runs away with an improbable state title.
What will the story be in your community? High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message made possible by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in this community.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit IHSAA.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
Have you heard? Winning isn't everything. Championships are great, but there's more to sports than separating the world into winners and losers. The way we play matters too. The choice is simple. You can choose gamesmanship, or you can choose sportsmanship. Gamesmanship is another way of saying whatever it takes. You know the types. They taunt their opponents. Throw the occasional elbow for good measure. Whatever it takes to gain the upper hand. Sportsmanship relies less on underhanded tactics and more on things like strategy, skill, and smarts. It's less about stooping to trickery and more about rising to the occasion. Gamesmanship or sportsmanship? Both can lead to victory, but only one represents the true measure of a champion. Play like a champion. Practice sportsmanship. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
You don't have to sit at your desktop to listen to games on the Voice Sports Network. Take the game wherever you go. There are multiple ways to tune in. On your laptop, your tablet, or even on your smartphone. Tune into games on the Voice Sports Network at work, in your car, or even at the game. Be sure to tell your friends and family, and thanks for choosing the Voice Sports Network.
If an individual student athlete or team wins a high school state championship, it's an amazing thing. It's also just the icing on the cake. That's because young people in Indiana who participate in education-based athletics are already winners. Studies show that win or lose, participation helps to impart skills they can use to enjoy greater success in other areas of their lives. School sports teach the benefits of teamwork, the value of self-motivation, and the importance of accountability. They also help to foster stronger work habits and higher levels of self-esteem. In other words, the true value of school sports can't be measured in terms of wins or losses. If an individual or team goes to state, it's an incredible accomplishment. But regardless of the outcome, today's student athletes are already destined to go far. School sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome to the world of Boomer compact tractors from New Holland. We know that buying a compact tractor is an exciting time and an important decision. Our goal is to answer your questions and give you the information needed to make an informed decision.
To learn more about New Holland compact tractors, visit New Holland Tri-County Incorporated on State Road 1 South in Bluffton.
Interact with Delaware County Voice through social media. Like us on Facebook, simply search Delaware County Voice. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Delaware Co-Voice. We'll let you know of any breaking news from the schools in the county, when our next broadcasts are, and post updates during the games. DelawareCountyVoice.com on Facebook and Twitter. Tigers Stadium, Robert Connett, Tony Sandleben, Peter Hood, and Dan Jacobson with you here on DCV. We've reached halftime. It's the Yorktown Tigers leading the Delta Eagles by a score of 20-0. Guys, we're looking at the halftime stats during the break. We saw on the field that Yorktown was able to get things rolling on offense early on and continue throughout that first half. Delta struggled, had a couple 3-and-outs early on, and the first half stats kind of prove that Yorktown really dominated the first 2 quarters of this game.
Yeah, these first half stats really couldn't be more one-sided. You have 13 first downs for Yorktown, just 3 for Delta. You have 41 total plays for Yorktown, just 19 for Delta. They've really been controlling time of possession, really been getting the advantage and racking up yards. Obviously, the score shows when you're leading 20-0. Really, the only thing that's gone right for Delta is they blocked a PAT.
Yeah, and I don't know what else can be said, Tony. You covered it all right there. From the very start of the game, I mean, obviously the first drive of the game, Delta was able to get a couple of positive runs going. The Delta's defense got off the field with a big interception. But after those first kind of 2 drives for each unit for Delta, both offense and defense, it's been all Yorktown from there. They've dominated time of possession. They've gotten long drive after long drive. Riley Neal's making Riley Neal-type throws. And the thing that's really impressed me about Yorktown in the first half is the balance, the way they're running the football, not only with Riley Neal on those quarterback keepers and those read options, but Peyton Stites is running hard. Stevenson and Allen are doing the same. And I think Yorktown right now is showing who is the superior team in that first half. Keep in mind, though, gentlemen, and this is something that to keep in mind as we go along, this is a Delta team that's averaging 21 points per third quarter in the year. They're a third-quarter team. They usually come out of the halftime break pretty strong. This is only a 20-0 game, so by no means is it over, but certainly a first half dominated by Yorktown.
And, Peter, you mentioned in that second quarter that so far this year, Delta has not scored a single point in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They keep that tradition
unbelievable
going. If they can continue with their third quarter impressions,
right,
they might be able to put this game right back on the line and get things rolling in the third quarter.
And some teams just have those quirks. You know, I don't know what it is. Some teams start fast like Yorktown. Some teams start slow and they play well in the second half like Delta. Hopefully for Delta that holds true tonight. I mean, you would like to think they're able to have a better showing in the second half than they did in that first half. I'm sure they'd like to think they're a better football team than they showed in that first half. But for me, it's going to start up front for Delta. They're going to have to get some push on that offensive line. Cade Jones is now going to be forced to make some throws to try to get Delta back into this football game.
And the thing is, guys, we saw at the beginning of this game, I think, Peter, you just mentioned it, the first drive Delta had, we saw a good number of runs getting pressure, getting positive yards. I mean, we saw Stiegel not even being touched until he was 5 yards down the field. So if Delta can figure out how they got that to work, adjust to Yorktown's defensive adjustments, really create those gaps for Stiegel, get that running game going. That'll open up the passing game for Cade Jones, and this team can strike quickly, and they have to stop Yorktown's running game as well.
I think one thing that both teams could probably work on in the second half, less penalties.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We mentioned it right before the end of that second quarter, how Yorktown has more penalties in this game, but they were able to capitalize on their mistakes. We saw that 3rd and goal at the 35. Neal able to complete the pass in the end zone for the touchdown to Miller. On the opposite side for Delta, seems like all of their penalties came to – it just kind of ended their momentum as they were moving downfield.
The reason why that is, I mean, we see Yorktown with 7 penalties and Delta only with 3. The big thing about it is, we talked about it, Yorktown is a pass-happy team. They are very good at throwing the football, which means they can pick up big chunks of yards quickly. Delta runs the ball, and Yorktown has really stuffed that running game for most of this game.
Again, looking at the official halftime stats for both teams, Riley Neal for Yorktown, 14 of 20 for 185 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. On the ground, he has 13 carries for 55 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown as well. We also mentioned Dawson Allen has 23 rushing yards, Peyton Stites with 12 rushing yards. Leading the receiving core tonight in the first half for Yorktown, the tight end, Jake Preston, coming into this game on the season, 45 yards. In that first half alone, 79 receiving yards. Riley Miller with 64 yards and those 2 receiving touchdowns. Clay Dungan with 33 yards. Carson Moore has 2 catches for 9 yards. On the Delta side, real quick, Cade Jones struggling at the quarterback position. He was just 2 of 7 for 15 yards and 1 interception. On the ground, Joe Spiegel, 21 yards on 8 carries. Cade Jones with 20 yards on 3 carries. And Mason Bechtold has 1 carry for 1 yard. Only 2 guys, obviously, with Cade Jones with just 2 completed passes. One of them to Darren Stoltz for 10 yards. The other one, 5 yards to Zach Mills. All in all, guys, Yorktown outnumbering the Delta offense in yardage, 275 to 57.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Segundo earlier this week and kind of getting his thoughts on what he thought the keys to the game were going to be, he said that if his team had any chance to win, they were going to, A, have to convert on 3rd down, which they haven't been able to do, and B, they were going to have to put long drives together to score. He knew that Yorktown was going to be able to put up some points on his defense, and he thought that his offense was going to have to respond with drives of their own. And so far, the offense just hasn't been able to put it together. Again, it's starting up front. Yorktown's defensive line is getting a lot of push in the backfield. Joe Spiegel's had very little room to run other than on that first drive. And Cade Jones just really hasn't looked like himself tonight. I mean, he looks either nervous or just not making the throws that he normally makes. But all Yorktown so far here tonight.
Well, and the thing is, Peter, I think Cade Jones doesn't look like himself because this Delta offense doesn't look like itself.
Right.
They haven't been able to run the football as effectively as you'd like, and that puts a lot more pressure on Cade Jones, and their passing game is not meant to be the focal point of their offense.
And let's also point this out. Carson Moore and some of the other defensive backs are doing a great job on Tate Stone. We have not heard Tate Stone's name at all tonight. They're doing a phenomenal job on him.
Hey, take a look. Again, Peter, coming into this game, he is the leading receiver in the conference.
Right.
With 107 receiving yards per game. Again, in that first half, he had, I'm taking a look at it, nothing. He had 0 across the board.
And so obviously that's something Delta's going to have to fix. They have to get Tate Stone involved. They have to get their playmakers back involved in this offense. Get Tate Stone the ball, get Spiegel some space to run through, get back into the rhythm, get back to the identity that is your offense.
And here's how much Tate Stone means to this offense. Coming in to this game, Cade Jones on the year had 24 completions. 15 of those completions were to Tate Stone. So nearly 2/3 of his completions to Tate Stone, and they've done a nice job shutting him down tonight. And really, Delta they've got some bigger wide receivers. Colin Hart is certainly a big target at 6'4", and they've got some other guys like Trey Bland, who's just coming back from injury, that are capable. But I think the only target that Jones really feels comfortable with is Tate Stone. And when you take that target away from him, it's going to make it a lot more difficult on him.
Yeah, and we've actually seen some throws go Tate Stone's way. The thing is, The coverage has been there. The throws have been inaccurate.
Exactly.
And it's really made a difference in this game.
And quickly, guys, have some scores from other Hoosier Heritage Conference games. Greenfield Central up 13-6 on Pendleton Heights, so maybe a little surprising there.
All right.
Shelbyville up 21-6 on Newcastle. Okay. And New Palestine up 19-3 on Mount Vernon. That's also kind of a rivalry game down there with New Pal and Mount Vernon. So big game in the HCC, but New Pal, again, showing their dominance in that first half.
Shout out to Caleb Taylor. He was part of this Yorktown football team last year. He graduated, but giving us a shout out on Twitter. He's watching this broadcast from Tennessee. That's what it's all about here at DCV, getting to watch our broadcast wherever you are. Thanks for joining us and making us a part of your Friday night activities. A rivalry game, Yorktown leading Delta at the break, 20-0. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Third quarter coming your way right here on DelawareCountyVoice.com.
In Fort Wayne, two sisters make a historic splash when they swim their way to a pair of individual state titles.
In Evansville, a boys and girls soccer team becomes state champions in the same year for the same school, claiming their place in Indiana history.
In Bloomington, 12 young men combine their talents, check their egos, and net a basketball state title.
High school sports have provided us with as many inspirational stories as there are towns in Indiana.
In Valparaiso, a gymnastics team scores a perfect season, winning a record 7th state championship for their school in the process.
A football team south of Indianapolis refuses to lose, comes from behind, and runs away with an improbable state title.
What will the story be in your community? High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message made possible by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in this community.
Delta will kick off to start the third quarter here at Tigers Stadium. The Yorktown Tigers leading 20-0 as the kickoff will bounce at the 15-yard line, roll out of bounds, and we will start the second half with the penalty against Delta.
Not the way you want to start out for Delta.
No.
That's their fourth penalty of the game, and we didn't even mention this in the halftime show, but this is a big, big drive now for both teams.
Yeah.
However this drive, whatever the outcome of this drive is, if it's a stop for Delta, there's going to be hope. If Yorktown scores, the floodgates might be open.
Yep, there's no doubt about that, Tony. I think it's a huge drive for both units. I think Yorktown's offense kind of wants to start to put one nail in the coffin, and I think Delta's defense, they know that they got to get a stop here. They can't allow Yorktown to march right down the field on them, and we'll see what happens.
Again, Riley Neal with 2 touchdowns in that first half for the Yorktown Tigers. And all in all, through the air, 185 yards. He also had 55 yards himself on the ground. He'll start in the shotgun to start the third quarter. Hands it off up the middle, across the 40, a big hole for Peyton Stites. He's across midfield to the 45-yard line. Big start on the ground for the Yorktown Tigers.
Yeah, and Peyton Stites, I've been impressed with him so far tonight, Tony. He's been very impressive running the ball, running really hard, and there he found a wide open hole, was able to burst through it. Broke a tackle here across midfield, and a huge first play there for Yorktown, not boding well for Delta.
Neal going to keep it himself up the middle. Drags a defender with him across the 40. He's finally brought down at the 37-yard line.
But back to your point, Peter, we mentioned earlier in this broadcast that Peyton Stites was kind of banged up a little bit at the beginning of the season.
Right.
He seems like he's running with a newfound burst here tonight. I don't know if it's the adrenaline of the rivalry or he really is that much healthier.
And you mentioned he's running hard. He only had 12 rushing yards in the first half, but he's showing a lot of strength up at the line. Neal, with that 6-yard carry, makes it 2nd and 4. He's in the shotgun once again. He has been all night. Handed off to Stites once again. Sheds a couple tacklers, and then he got hit hard. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think the defender might have taken the brunt of that hit.
Yeah, the defender's still down on the field.
Riley Peace still down. It was actually Darren Stoltz that was down.
And remember, in that first half, after he made a catch on the offensive side of the ball,
had to come out of the game.
Yeah, he got hit hard and went straight to the sideline, so he might be a little banged up still.
Huge third down coming up here for Delta. You've got to get off the field right here. But the way Yorktown's running the ball, I mean, it's going to be tough to stop.
Yorktown converted on third down 7 times in that first half. And most of the time it's been a third and short situation, and it's Riley Neal.
Exactly.
Delta's defensive line, and they jumped off.
Oh,
wow.
my goodness.
Wow.
That right there is exactly what Delta has been doing throughout this entire game. They have opportunities to make stops and then have just shot themselves in the foot, haven't even taken the opportunity.
You talk about shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, this is the third offside penalty tonight that Delta has had that has essentially given Yorktown a first down in Delta territory and extended a drive. And you just can't do that against an offense like this.
And Neal has been doing that against opponents all season long. The hard count, trying to draw them off sides, and it's been working a lot. Neal hands it off to Stites, and he is met up hard right at the line. David Smeckens coming in with a strong tackle.
And you can tell, I think there's a lot of emotion going through Delta's defense right now. They really, really are not happy with how things have gone. They want to get off the field, and they're really angry at themselves for once again allowing this drive to continue on a really mental error penalty.
2nd and 11. Neal in the shotgun. Looks to throw to the right side. It is caught near the sidelines and right down at the first down marker. And that's Carson Moore on the reception at the 20.
Riley Neal with plenty of time there was able to stand tall in the pocket. A nice run out of the nice route run on the opposite side by Carson Moore. Beautiful throw. And again, those two guys have been working together now for a few years. Neal to Moore. We've seen that a lot over the last couple years here in Tiger Nation, and you see it again right there.
They actually ruled him short. It's 3rd and short once again for Yorktown. Neal going to hand it off to Stites this time. Got tripped up. Did he get across for the first down?
He may have come up just short.
Inches.
But the thing is, I won't be surprised if Yorktown goes for it with another sneak.
You might as well. I mean, you're up by 20.
Right. And you're on the 22-yard line here, so if you do turn it over, it's not going to kill you whatsoever. So
Neal going to keep it himself up the middle. Everyone at the line. This will all depend on where the referees spot this. Everyone just kind of ganged up in one big dog pile.
Well, I think finally Delta knew what was coming. Yorktown saying they have it.
They're gonna measure. They're gonna bring up the chains.
And I think Neal had enough on that initial surge to get the first down. It's just a matter of where they spot the ball.
And it looks like they have it right on the 20-yard line.
Yep. And it all depends on the spot here.
Yeah, Dan, let's see if we can zoom in on that.
By the way, it has gotten chillier out here.
Oh, has it?
It's a nice breeze blowing in.
And we're going to see where they mark this. Missed it by an inch.
That is huge for Delta.
Wow.
Huge stop there for Delta. They have a chance now. They have to take advantage, though. They're not done. They have to take advantage. Take advantage of this opportunity that they have. Finally getting a stop from Yorktown's offense. Now their offense needs to get some points on the board.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, Tony. It's now or never for the Delta offense. They've got to put a drive together here and score some points. A huge stop by the defense. Maybe a favorable spot there for Delta. But again, if you're the Eagles, again, this has been traditionally an offense that's gotten going in the third quarter. You need them to do the same here in this Yorktown game.
And that can be the spark that'll get them going as well.
Exactly.
So the turnover on downs and up the middle. Still on his feet. That's Bechtold across the 40, the 45, and near midfield. Big carry for Delta rather.
Peter, you might be a prophet.
Do what?
You might be a prophet.
It's all in the numbers. In the third quarter, it's almost like this team has been a completely different team so far this season. And there you see the biggest hole they've got all night. The offensive line getting a little bit of push there. Huge hole. Bechtold finds it, and a big gain on first down.
27-yard gain for Bechtold. First down for Delta near midfield. Another carry right side. This time it's Spiegel across the 50 and brought down near the 48-yard line.
I might ask you for tomorrow's lottery numbers here in a minute.
Well, if I knew the lottery numbers, Tony, best believe I would not be up here in this booth with you guys. I might be on a beach somewhere in the Bahamas.
2nd and 6 for the Eagles at the 48-yard line. Under center, Jones. Hand off to Bechtel up the middle. He's across the 45. Sheds a tackler across the 40 and finally brought down near the 37-yard line. Bechtel with another big carry for Delta. Peter, you've said it yourself. This is a completely different team, big, strong start for Delta.
And it starts with the offensive line. When the offensive line becomes more aggressive like they have on these first couple of plays in the third quarter, it gives these running backs who are pretty talented tailbacks some holes to run through, and Bechtel and Spiegel are going to find those holes, and you see the result here.
First down. Another handoff up the middle. This time it is Zach Mills, and he is across the 30 to the 27. Another big gain on the ground. Delta's running game quickly moving down the field for the Eagles.
That's going to be another first down for Delta. This is exactly what you want for Delta right now. You've got a great drive going. You start all the way back at the 22-yard line, now on the plus side of the field. The thing is, though, they're not done. They have to get points on the board. Moving the ball effectively, that's great, but you have to get points on the board.
8 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Spiegel on the left side. Still on his feet and finally brought down near the 15-yard line, all the way on the far sideline. And again, this Delta offense altogether had 57 yards in the first half. They have more than that here on this drive.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten to see it a lot, but Joe Spiegel, one of the most talented running backs in this conference, is showing it right there. So good at bouncing to the outside, getting around that edge.
First down from the 15. Another handoff to the right side, and this time the Yorktown defense stops Spiegel in the backfield.
And that's the biggest thing for this Delta offense. They rely so heavily on first down because they want to be able to get in second and short, third and short situations. When you can get in the backfield on first down and create second and long, third and long situations like Yorktown was doing in the first half, it's going to put Delta's offense in a lot more precarious situations.
You definitely want to get into the end zone here if you're Delta.
Need to.
I keep saying getting points on the board. 3 points, that's still points. But as far as momentum is concerned, if you really want to capitalize on how this drive is gone, capitalize on the turnover on downs, definitely get into the end zone here.
Did Delta just switch teams in the locker room? Because it's just totally different.
Coach Segunda must know what to say in those halftime speeches.
I'm sure. And you saw it last week for Delta. They were tied with Shelbyville at the break.
Awful in that first half
7-7.
Shelbyville.
Third quarter went right out of the gate quickly and put a lot of points up on the board. Looking to do the same here. Already down by 20. But they stopped Yorktown on the defensive side, and now on the offensive side, quickly moving down the field. A pitch to the left side. Spiegel has blockers across the 15. Pushed out of bounds near the sidelines. Probably picked up a few on the play.
And one thing else that we're seeing, and this could be what the locker room chat was all about, we're seeing a different team come out of the huddle. They're running. They're sprinting up to the line of scrimmage. We saw towards the end of the first half, they were just kind of like sulking their way, walking up to the line of scrimmage. This Delta offense is pumped. They are ready to go.
And that first half, the Delta student section on the other side of the field, silent. They have been standing and cheering this entire third quarter. 3rd and 10 at the 15. Big play here. Fake handoff. Throw across the middle. It is caught at the 5-yard line. And it's Darren Stoltz, the tight end.
That is a huge throw. Huge throw by Kay Jones. They're going to give him the first down on a play action.
Yeah, he faked the handoff to Spiegel.
And again,
Stoltz right in the middle.
The way they've been running the ball kind of set that play up. Stoltz was right over the middle, hit him right in the hands. That's the Kay Jones we're used to, making those throws. Now you got to convert with a touchdown.
1st and goal at the 5 for Delta. Handoff up the middle, trying to get to the goal line, I believe, was Bechtel. It was, but I don't think he went anywhere. And they'll make it 2nd and goal.
And Yorktown can really get the momentum back on their side in a big way if they force a turnover here. And Delta has this huge long drive and comes away with nothing.
2nd and goal at the 6. He actually lost a yard on the play.
And this is kind of what Delta's offense, they redesigned their offense over the offseason to be more of a power running scheme. So in these goal line situations, hopefully they're going to be more effective. And we'll see if they can right here.
Jones under center, I formation, handoff to Spiegel, up the middle, met at the line by the Yorktown defense. Maybe picked up a few yards on the play, but that will bring up 3rd and goal. Big stand right here if you're the Yorktown defense.
This could be make or break for Delta. They need to score here. Certainly you're in 4-down territory. So at 4 minutes left in the third quarter, you're already down 20-0. You can't turn the ball over here. You've got to put this in the end zone.
3 yards to go.
And it looks like a timeout going to be taken by Yorktown. 20-0 Yorktown, but Delta, after a big defensive stand, stopping Yorktown at the 20, they quickly move down the field, and they are facing a 3rd and goal situation. We'll take the timeout with them. Be back with more action from Tiger Stadium right here on DelawareCountyVoice.com.
You began building your resume when you enrolled in the EPIC program at the University of St. Francis. A defining moment for your future. EPIC students are led by accomplished professors who believe in you and are there to guide you through a business program that provides work experience and executive mentorship. Don't just get a degree. Get experience and a resume that can only be described as
impressive.
The University of St. Francis. This is your moment. Believe.
Here we go, 3rd and goal at the 3-yard line. Delta trying to get on the board. Yorktown trying to stop them. Everyone making noise on both sides of the bleachers. Handoff up the middle. Spiegel, he is in for the touchdown. Delta on the board.
Went off left tackle there. Through the left side, a big hole for Joe Spiegel. He's going to be able to hit that hole all day long if you give that to him. Huge momentum shift on the 4th down stop here. And finally, Delta able to put a drive together. That was 70-plus yards on that drive. 77 yards, 78 yards on that drive as Rob's trying to make it up.
Oh! Coming in for the block, that was Clay Duncan blocking the PAT.
And getting a little revenge from earlier. That could be big later on in the game as we move forward. But finally, Delta able to put together a drive, and that's Delta football. Power running scheme, moving the ball down the field effectively with their tailbacks. Cade Jones makes a throw when he has to, and then they pound it in when they get to the end zone. Again, huge drive there for Delta, and they work themselves back into this thing.
Yeah, but you mentioned, Peter, that PAT could come back to haunt them. And
exactly.
Just to touch on Clay Duncan, he came in off the edge and blocked it like it was his job. He did it like it was so easy. The thing about Clay Duncan, he really can do everything. I mean, he's one of the top receivers for this team. He's a big impact on special teams. He just blocked a PAT. He's also the punter for this Yorktown squad. And the thing is that I still can't wrap my head around this. This is his first year ever playing high school football.
Yeah, that's right.
That's absolutely insane. But, Peter, to your point, Delta finally getting some momentum back on their side, getting a drive effective all the way through, picking up the score. Now the defense needs to make another stop, and Yorktown really has to keep that going.
Delta just likes third quarters.
That's
the only explanation I have.
Kickoff will be fielded at the 20-yard line. This is Duncan to the left side, across the 35 and to the 36. That's where Yorktown will come back onto the field with their offense. An 80-yard drive for Delta, 3-yard touchdown run by Joe Spiegel. His 7th touchdown of the season puts Delta on the board, trailing by 14.
Did I hear you guys say earlier that Duncan has a baseball scholarship to Indiana State? He's got some wheels on it.
And
he's a very impressive athlete.
For people that have not heard the story yet, he already got the baseball scholarship. His buddy Riley Neal says, hey, it's your senior year, try out for the football team. He says, all right, sure.
And now look at him.
And now he's a wide receiver leading the team. Neal going to take it himself. He's across midfield to the 45, taking defenders with him all the way to the 33. Oh, my goodness.
Riley Neal showing off those wheels. Again, Peter, I think you said it earlier in the broadcast. He is underrated as an athlete. Everybody talks about his arm and how great of a thrower he is. The guy can run. He's a big impact player on their basketball team as well, and he showed it off there, and that's exactly what Delta cannot allow.
Ball State football fans who are watching this broadcast should be excited. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. He can make all the throws. He's showing tonight that he's a very underrated quarterback in terms of moving around in the pocket and in terms of running the ball downfield. You've got to be excited as a we're all Ball State students. You got to be excited as a Ball State fan watching this guy play.
Neal will hand it off up the middle, and that was Dawson Allen on the carry. He might have picked up a yard or two on the play. Hey, customer service and satisfaction are qualities that SOS Carpet Cleaning feel are most important. Give them a call for your carpet cleaning or water damage needs at 289-0900. That's SOS Carpet Cleaning in Muncie, proud sponsor of Yorktown and Delta football here on DCV.
Riley Neal might go for the, of course he plays basketball. I'm sure he's posted a few double-doubles in his career. He might go for the triple-triple tonight. Triple-digit yardage in terms of rushing and passing.
Sliding catch near the 30-yard line for Clay Dungan. Pickup of about 4 on the play. It's 3rd and 5, under 3 minutes to play here in the third, and a no-huddle offense for Yorktown. Neal on the hard count. Delta doesn't move. Now he checks back onto the sidelines.
Good move there by Delta.
Yeah.
Discipline at the line.
Again, they look like a completely different team here in this third quarter. Neal takes the snap, looking to his left, will throw, and batted down at the line.
And that was a nice job there by Luke Overfield, 6'4", 285 on that defensive line to get his paws up there.
Big dude.
And also a good job there by Yorktown's offensive line picking up the blitz, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation. It looks like the Tigers are going to go for it, and guys, this happened at the very beginning of the half.
Exactly.
Delta made a stop and then drove down and scored. We'll see what happens here.
4th and 5. Neal in the shotgun with Allen in the backfield. Neal going to roll out to his right, looking to throw on the move, and he overthrew his defender. Another turnover on downs. Boys, Delta's back into this.
Great coverage downfield there by Delta. It was a design quarterback boot out to the right side. They had trips out on that opposite side, did Yorktown, and Delta did a nice job covering on that side, and Riley Neal had no choice but to throw it out of bounds. Delta now with the chance to get within 1 score if they can manufacture the same type of drive that they did on that last drive.
And look for Yorktown's defense to make an adjustment. You know they are not happy that they just easily gave up their shutout bid.
Look for Tate Stone on this drive. We haven't said his name much tonight, but the running that they were able to establish on that first drive may set him up for a long strike here on this second drive of the second half.
Handoff up the middle. I believe it was Spiegel once again to the right side and got across the 30 to about the 32.
Spiegel on the carry for Delta.
Pick up, they're actually going to mark this
31 Byron Howard.
at the, well, yeah, they marked it at the 32. I was looking at the chain game, and they were walking all the way to the 35.
Also keep this in mind in terms of Delta's offense, guys. We talked to Coach Wilhelm before the game. He said Delta's always got a trick play up their sleeve for the Yorktown game. We have not seen one yet tonight.
That could be how they get Tate Stone involved. Maybe a reverse,
there you go.
An end around.
Tate Stone looking for his first reception of the entire game. Man in motion, right to left. That's Hart. Jones throwing downfield and up for the grab and incomplete. Carson Moore on the coverage, going one-on-one with Tate Stone, and it went right through both of their hands, incomplete. That will be 3rd and long for Delta.
Nice job by the safety, Jawan Tate there, the sophomore coming over the top as the safety. They took a shot downfield there, but again, that cover two defense for Yorktown. That's the 3rd or 4th time this game where Kay Jones has tried to fit a ball in over the top, just hasn't had the touch on it.
And a great job baiting the quarterback as well. Tate showing that Jones thought he saw an open receiver, then closed very quickly and made the play.
Jones under center. Man in motion, right to left once again for Delta. Jones Drawn back, throws across the middle. It is complete. That is Tate Stone with his first catch of the night. It'll be a first down for the Eagles. Down at the 44-yard line. And again, this guy is averaging 107 receiving yards per game. That is his first catch of the entire evening.
And on those 3rd and long situations, Cade Jones is always going to look to Tate Stone first. He was open in the middle of the field there. A nice throw by Jones. He's gotten more comfortable as this game's gone along, making some good throws now.
Handoff up the middle, across midfield, still on his feet. The running game for Delta, pickup of about 5 on the play, and that was Zach Mills this time with the carry.
And Tony, we talked about Yorktown's balance on offense in the first half. Delta's balance here early in the second half has been outstanding.
Well, Delta's balance on this drive absolutely has been outstanding. That first drive really was all run. They ran through huge gaping holes in Yorktown's defense, and then a couple passes at the end got them into scoring position. This drive definitely has been very balanced.
Spiegel, left side, he steps out of bounds near the first down marker. We'll see where they spot it. They will rule him short. It'll be 3rd and 1 for Delta, right around the 47-yard line.
Certainly a manageable 3rd down here for Delta. I'd be surprised if they didn't keep the ball on the ground here.
Yeah, the running game, light years ahead of what they were in the first half. Way better, moving the ball downfield. 3rd and 1. Quarterback keeper for Jones. Trying to move forward. Yorktown pushing them back.
I don't think he got it.
I don't think he did either. Yeah, the referees aren't even going to measure. They're signaling 4th down.
Yep.
And you know
Big
Delta's
stop.
going to want to go for it here.
Yeah.
They have to.
Big stop for Yorktown on 3rd down. They'll have to do it again on 4th down. They rule him about half a yard short.
And with that, the clock should run out for the 3rd quarter.
There we go.
They just stopped it.
Nope, timeout. Or a referee's actually going to.
They are going to measure.
They are going to measure.
Yep.
They did stop the clock. They're going to measure it.
Well, it all depends on where they march forward progress, because Jones, again, had that initial surge. He was pushed back, but it depends on where they march forward progress here.
I don't know if they're going to.
I would measure it because that's a pretty close call there.
I mean, we don't have the greatest angle. We're kind of
doesn't hurt
set up at the 45-yard line, but yeah.
It didn't look like Yorktown Tigers were really pushing it back, though. I mean,
here
it
they
looked
come.
pretty obvious.
Let's see where they are going to rule this.
A stalemate on the offensive line, though, for sure on that play. Yep, just short.
Inches.
A chain link short.
So here we go.
That chain just didn't move far enough.
Well, this is where they say games are won in the trenches. It's going to be Delta's offensive line here versus Yorktown's defensive line. They're going to load up the box. Delta's going to try to run it right down their throat and pick up this first down.
And you could see Delta go with a play-action fake here and bomb it deep to Stone. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe not advisable here, but it could happen.
Here we go, 4th and inches. Jones under center. Man in motion. That is Stone, left to right. And whistles blow. Delta's going to take a timeout.
4 seconds left on the clock.
I think what they were trying to do there was trying to pull them off sides, get a cheap penalty. But Yorktown's defensive line a little more disciplined than what Delta's defensive line was in that first half on a few occasions. Certainly smart, though, from Coach Segunda to try to get that free first down, if you will. Had timeouts to burn. That was his first timeout that he used this half. And now you also get a chance to kind of huddle your team up, make sure everybody knows their assignment, make sure everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, and hopefully draw up a play that, if you're a Delta fan, will get them a first down.
Yeah, and this is a very, very big play still for the Delta offense, and you know the coaching staff for the Eagles, they're trying to come up with a play that absolutely 100% works every time they run it. So it could be a number of things. It could be really what's been working so far in this half has been that fullback dive right up the middle. It's gone for a ton of yardage, so we might see that again here.
Yorktown student section making noise. Delta student section making noise on the other side of the field. Here we go. Coming out of the Delta timeout. 4th and inches at the 46. Jones going to keep it himself. Going up the middle. He got it. He got plenty.
That extra push really pushed him forward. able to pick up what was about a 1, maybe 2 yards into about 5 or 6.
And that will end the third quarter. Delta able to convert on fourth down. They will have a fresh set of downs to start the fourth. At the end of 3, Yorktown leading Delta 20-6. Fourth quarter coming your way from Tiger Stadium on DCV.
Have you heard? Winning isn't everything. Championships are great, but there's more to sports than separating the world into winners and losers. The way we play matters too. The choice is simple. You can choose gamesmanship, or you can choose sportsmanship. Gamesmanship is another way of saying whatever it takes. You know the types. They taunt their opponents. Throw the occasional elbow for good measure. Whatever it takes to gain the upper hand. Sportsmanship relies less on underhanded tactics and more on things like strategy, skill, and smarts. It's less about stooping to trickery and more about rising to the occasion. Gamesmanship or sportsmanship? Both can lead to victory, but only one represents the true measure of a champion. Play like a champion. Practice sportsmanship. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
The University of St. Francis, a proud sponsor on all 6 websites of the Voice Sports Network. See for yourself what USF has to offer. They're located in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and online at sf.edu. Welcome back as we get ready for the fourth quarter here at Tiger Stadium. Yorktown leading Delta 20-6. But the Eagles, after converting the fourth and inches to end the third, looking to continue this offensive drive and get back into the game.
Again, if you're Delta here, very little margin for error. You've got to put points on the board. You're still down 2 touchdowns here.
Jones fakes the handoff, rolls out to his right, looks downfield, caught.
I think that's Stoltz again.
Oh, he dropped it at the last second. That was actually David Smeckens, number 4.
Whoa.
Had it in his hands and then was hit at the last second and dropped it. Incomplete, brings up second down.
Good physical play that time by the Yorktown secondary. The play's not over. The completion's not made even when the receiver has his hands on the ball. Can still get hit and drop it. That's exactly what Yorktown did there.
Again, Delta's offense, primarily a run-first offense, going to be forced to put the ball in the air here more in this fourth quarter. After that terrible first half, they've left themselves so little margin for error. They're going to have to throw the ball here.
Hand it off up the middle. That is Spiegel. Has some blockers. Still on his feet towards the first down marker. Unless he stay alive on that run.
Peter, you make a good point. You do need to throw the ball in this situation unless you're going to make runs like that.
Right. And I was talking to Andy Wright, my co-broadcaster for Delta Sports a couple weeks ago. The way he runs, and obviously maybe not as talented, not as fast, but the way he runs reminds me so much of Chandler Carroll. I mean, he's always breaking the initial tackle, getting to that second level of the defense.
Handoff up the middle. It's Spiegel once again. He has the first down and more across the 30 and tackled right around the 29-yard line. Looked like Myron Howard led the tackle for Yorktown. Delta's still moving. Thing is, now they have to face the clock.
This is what they want to do in the first half, was put long drives together and burn some clock. They're going to have to kind of speed it up a little bit here in this second half. And now that you're in the fourth quarter, 11 minutes to go, down 2 touchdowns, you certainly can't bide your time here.
Fresh set of downs, ball at the 30. Jones with a man in motion right to left. Going to hand it off to Spiegel, and he is met up in the backfield. Jake Preston and company stopping the running back with a tackle for loss.
And that's where, Peter, the point you made earlier makes a lot of sense. The reason why you really want to throw the ball in this situation is because when you have a play that ends up getting nothing, in that sense, when you throw the ball, an incompletion, the clock stops. Here, you get met at the line of scrimmage, even go backwards for a couple of lost yards. The clock is still moving, and when you're down by 2 scores, especially against a Yorktown offense like this, you have got to keep that clock in your favor.
Yeah, and Delta's offense not used to running no huddle. It's just not something they're accustomed to.
Jones under center, hands the ball off the middle, breaking a couple of tackles, still on his feet. Was that Zach Mills? Yes, it was.
Yes.
He shed about 4 tacklers, finally brought down by Yorktown right around the 22-yard line. Pickup of about 6 or 7 on the play. 3rd down.
Yeah, he's a tough runner. It'll be 3rd and 3 here, but you're talking about a guy who his freshman year at Kentucky at a 5A school ran for nearly 900 yards. So a huge pickup for this Delta team. He's been huge in the backfield.
3rd and 4. Jones lost the ball, picked it back up. He's going to run to his left and dragged out of bounds. And that was costly for Delta. That'll bring up 4th down.
And that was another mishandled snap by Cade Jones. That time it came in a crucial spot, a missed opportunity to convert on 3rd down, bringing up another crucial 4th down, this time 4th and about 4. And again, Delta needs to pick this up if they're going to keep any hopes of winning this game alive.
And no margin for error here for Delta. You've got to pick up first downs. You've got to keep these drives alive, and you've got to score. Time is running out in this ball game. Pivotal play coming up here.
Hart and Stone come onto the field for the Delta offense.
The bleachers are shaking.
4th and 4. Yorktown fans making noise. Jones fakes the handoff, rolls out to his right, looking to throw. Still on the move. He's going to keep it himself. Dive to the first down.
Didn't get it.
He didn't get it.
You got a flag coming late here. That could be a late hit of some sort.
Oh.
And
that flag came after the tackle was made.
Actually, Peter, I don't think that was a flag. I think that was Delta's head coach's playbook.
Yeah, something was thrown up into the air, but that was not a flag.
I thought it was a flag, but apparently not.
Yeah.
It's Yorktown ball.
So Yorktown's offense went forward on 4th down twice and could not convert. Delta goes for it, cannot convert.
Coach Zagunda that time just venting his frustration, tossing his playbook about what looked like 50 feet into the air. And really, that may have been a backbreaker there for Delta. That was a huge defensive stand by the Yorktown Tigers. Now all they got to do, milk this clock as much as possible.
I think they as Yorktown calls the timeout here. Rob, you want to keep it here?
Yeah, we'll keep it here.
Okay. Again, I think Cade Jones, they wanted to roll him out to his right there, but so much pressure. Yorktown brought a blitz, and the Delta offensive line wasn't ready for it. Somebody missed an assignment. Jones was forced to try to improvise, and a lot of camouflage jerseys around him had no room to run. A nice defensive stop by the Yorktown defense, but you're giving the ball back to Riley Neal here with 8.5 minutes to go, up 2 scores. That could very well be the ball game. This Yorktown offense so potent, and they know how to put games away.
After the Yorktown timeout, we'll have 8.5 minutes to play here in the ball game.
You know, I think it's worth noting, this is probably the fastest game of the season so far. It's only about 9:30.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah.
Check that out.
That's a good point, Dan. Yorktown has played numerous games. Basically, all 3 of their games have gone on at least 2.5, close to 3.5 hours. New Pal last week. We finally got back to Muncie at midnight.
That also had a little something to do with the referees, but that's a story for another time.
And the weather delay. But, yeah, a very good point, Dan, that this is a fast-moving game, especially this second half.
And a big part of it is because a lot of play calls just like that. Really, we talked about at the beginning of the game that Yorktown would really throw the ball because that's what they do best. They are a pass-happy team. They have run the ball a ton tonight, and Delta.
I see your tally.
Yeah, I finally quit. It's just insane how many times I've knocked down running plays. But both of these teams have really run the ball quite a bit, and that clock just keeps moving.
Stites was stopped in the backfield at 2nd and 11. Neal, quick pass out to the right side, caught by Moore at the 20. Has some blockers ahead of him, and it'll be pushed out of bounds right around the 30-yard line. I don't think he got the first down, but it should be about 3rd and a couple.
And if you listen closely, you can hear the jingling of the chains moving.
Brings up 3rd down and 1 for the Tigers.
Yeah, it's a big third. It's a big 3rd down here. Clock stopped on that on that play after Moore went out of bounds, but Delta has to get the ball back to their offense here. They need to stop.
3rd and a long one. Neal will keep it himself. He's going to barrel across the 35-yard line to the 36, has the first down and more.
I really wonder if what you were thinking might have happened has happened, Peter. Riley Neal, as great of a passer as he's been, has really proven tonight that he can run the football. I really wonder if he's getting that triple-triple.
That triple-triple, that is a new football term that I am coining tonight, the triple-triple. Triple-digit rushing yardage, triple-digit passing yardage. We're checking on the stats now.
I like it. I like it. Triple-triple. It's good stuff.
Fresh set of downs for Yorktown. After Neal picked up another 3rd down conversion. In the shotgun, hands it off to Stites up the middle. Still on his feet and brought down right around the 40-yard line. Pickup of about 3 on the play.
Well, the way Yorktown's running the ball tonight, the way they're controlling the line of scrimmage, they could very well put a long drive together here that burns 5-6 minutes off of this clock and effectively ends the game, even if they don't score. Again, they've really just controlled the line of scrimmage all night long. Coach Wilhelm emphasized that to me earlier this week as something he really made an emphasis to his players, and they've done a great job executing that tonight.
And you wonder if maybe, again, Yorktown will go for it if they come up to a 4th down situation just to try to keep that clock moving.
Another handoff up the middle. Actually, Neal kept it himself that time.
Neal keeps it up the middle.
And he's brought down right around the 44-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 3.
The thing about Riley Neal running the ball, every time he takes a step, it's like 10 yards. I mean, the dude's 6'5", and his legs are
huge. It's like Shaq.
Another hard count by Riley Neal. Good discipline up front by the Delta Eagles.
Play clock down to 5. Neal in the shotgun. 3rd and 3. Takes the snap. Going to keep it himself. He has the first down. Dive to the 50-yard line.
He just ran over. I couldn't tell who that was, but he just lowered the shoulder and barreled over the linebacker safety. I couldn't even tell where that player came from, and I think he's injured now, too. He's kind of hobbling around. That's number 11 for the Delta Eagles. Riley Peace, I believe, is who that is. He's staying on the field, but, man, Riley Neal showing some physicality on that run.
Riley Neal, and again, watching him last year, I did PA for Yorktown last year, and certainly an impressive passer and could make all the throws, but he looks bigger, stronger, faster, more mobile. Just everything has improved about his game, and again, so exciting if you're a Ball State fan watching him play.
Hand off to Stites. He's across the 45, still on his feet across the 40, finally brought down by a gang of Eagles right around the 37-yard line, and we got a Delta player down around the 45-yard line. That looks to be Riley Peace.
Yeah, it's Peace again. He took that shot from Riley Neal, really kind of hobbled around.
He's been taking it a lot.
The field, but yeah, he's still, give him credit, he's staying in.
One of Delta's better cornerbacks.
Another first down for the Yorktown offense, and again, just milking the clock. Down to 5:25 and counting, looking to beat Delta.
And this drive started with right around 8-9 minutes to play.
Last time Yorktown won at home against Delta was 2006.
Penalty mark, delay a game.
I didn't think they got it off in time. Neal's still on the move, check that. That's Preston or Stice. Gosh,
they still let that play go. That should have been a dead ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or illegal motion actually was the call there. Was not a delay of game.
Oh, really? That play clock was down to 0.
That's why they let it go.
Illegal motion was the call.
Either way, it's a penalty against Yorktown. That's something that both these teams, we talked about it at the halftime report, a lot of penalties in that first half.
Yeah.
They've done a better job here in the 3rd and 4th quarters. But going back to what I was mentioning real quick, Yorktown has not defeated Delta at home since 2006. The final score of that was 19-15.
Holy cow.
And we mentioned in the pregame show, the last 4 matchups between these two teams, the visiting team has won. Yorktown looking to end that streak here tonight. They are 5 minutes away from doing so. After the penalty, First down and 15 at the 43. Play clock down to 7. Neal on the shotgun. Play clock at 5. Neal takes the snap, hands it off to Stites once again across the 40. Pushes his way to about the 38.
And look for Riley Neal to continue to milk that clock. Wait for that play clock to get to be around 5, 4, 3 seconds. That's when you snap the ball, just to take as much time off of the game clock as much as you possibly can.
I'm wondering when Delta's got 2 timeouts left, and I'm wondering at what point they're going to start to use those.
They're going to have to use them soon.
Right.
Call it 2nd and 9 for the Tigers.
They could very well use them after this 2nd down and hopefully 3rd down play. But they have to stop the clock and get the ball back to their offense if they have any chance here.
Neal to Stites once again, and he is brought down hard, close to the 35-yard line.
I'm not seeing a timeout signal.
Stites bounces off a couple tackles.
I believe that was Overfield on the tackle for Delta.
Well, they're still going to keep those in their pocket.
I suppose Grant Zagunda feels like if his team could get off the field on this 3rd down, he'd like to have some timeouts in his back pocket for later on. But
the thing is, you're down by 2 scores.
Right, exactly.
Down by 2 scores. I mean, that in itself is hard to do with just over 3 minutes left to play.
Dungan in motion, right to left. Neal on the shotgun. Going to keep it himself. Got tripped up in the backfield and brought down.
And now Delta takes a timeout.
51, Brayton Conley tripping up the quarterback in the backfield. And, Delta's going to take a timeout. 3:11 to play here in the ball game. Yorktown looking to pick up their first conference win of the season, leading 20-6. We'll take the timeout with them in a moment. Be back in a moment here on DCV.
You don't have to sit at your desktop to listen to games on the Voice Sports Network. Take the game wherever you go. There are multiple ways to tune in, on your laptop, your tablet, or even on your smartphone. Tune into games on the Voice Sports Network at work, in your car, or even at the game. Be sure to tell your friends and family, and thanks for choosing the Voice Sports Network.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Indiana are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Back to action after the Delta timeout. Neal on the shotgun, looking to his right, going to launch it downfield. He has Dungan and overthrew a receiver once again.
That is a really interesting play call there from Coach Mike Wilhelm. Obviously, he has a tremendous amount of confidence in his quarterback. But on 4th down there, you have an opportunity to pin Delta deep, pin them maybe inside their own 10, 15-yard line. Instead, you give Delta the ball on their own 37 in much better field position and really set the Eagles up to try to make a score here and get within 1 touchdown.
Yeah, and with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left, it's not out of the question. This game's not over. And, Yorktown's got to realize that. They're still going to have to make a defensive stand here.
And I mean, make no bones about it, though. It would take a miracle for Delta to pull this game off. They would need to score a touchdown here, recover an onside kick, and score another just to send it to overtime.
Fumble in the backfield. Yorktown signaling that they have it, and they do.
Well, that's not quite what you want to do if you're trying to come back and win this game, and I think that right there will definitely be the nail in the coffin. It was, as you mentioned, Peter, a long shot anyway, but with that turnover, again, another mishandled. I think it was just a mishandled handoff.
Yep.
But either way, Yorktown falls on it and really at this point can just sit on the ball and go home happy.
I'm not sure if there was even maybe some confusion on what the play was supposed to be there. It looked like the tailback thought he might be getting the ball, and Jones might have been trying to pull it away on a play action there. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but that effectively ends this game. You're right, Tony.
Yorktown right back onto the field with their offense. At the 37, Allen with the carry. He finds a hole across the 30 to the 25, still on his feet. close to the 20-yard line. And if you're a Delta fan, that hurts a lot.
Yeah, and certainly the Delta faithful, after having that big first drive of the second half to kind of get them back into it, they've been quieted. Certainly they're disappointed, but you just wish they could have played a little bit better in the first half to make this thing a little more interesting. Keep in mind, Yorktown hasn't scored in this second half. Delta's played pretty well in this second half, but you just wish the first half would have been more competitive.
All three of Yorktown's drives have ended with a turnover on downs.
You saw on your video screen some of the Delta fans starting to leave the bleachers. Neal hands it off in the backfield. Now lost the ball, fumble, and quickly recovered by Delta. Yorktown gives it right back to the Eagles.
Coach Mike Wilhelm not happy at all, to say the least. Pumping his fist, yelling in anger, pacing the sideline as Yorktown gives the ball right back to Delta, and that's the last thing you want to do if you're Yorktown in this situation.
Yeah, and the reason why Coach Wilhelm is so upset is because the game is over. You have the ball. All you got to do is run out the clock. Just hold on to the ball, sit on it, and watch the clock run down. Instead, they put the ball on the grass. Delta recovers, and Yorktown is, you're not finishing a game strong like you want. And from a coaching aspect, that really gets under your skin. They're letting Delta hang around.
2.5 minutes to play.
And it looks like the Delta fans are still leaving anyways.
Jones rolling out to his left, going to throw it. Caught on the sidelines, able to get his feet down in bounds. Nicely done. Tate Stone with the reception.
Well, certainly Yorktown's going to sag off these receivers, trying not to allow any receivers get behind the defense, and so they're going to give Cade Jones those intermediate 5 to 10 to 15-yard plays. They're just not going to allow anything downfield here late.
And we see the corners, the defensive backs for Yorktown start close to the receivers, except here they're playing pretty tight.
Jones looking to throw to the right side. It's caught once again by Tate Stone near midfield. Back-to-back receptions by the wide receiver.
But again, a relatively short gain for the Eagles. And was there a penalty?
I don't believe so.
They haven't
moved the
down marker. Not sure what the confusion
I
is
think,
here.
I do see there is a flag. Right around the
I see it now.
43-yard line, yep. And the referees are talking to Jones.
Yep,
I'm thinking this one's going on Yorktown.
Yeah, holding against the defense.
That'll be an automatic first down, but depending on how big of a gain that pass was, Delta may just decline it and take the gain, but it looks like they're going to accept it.
It's actually going to be a spot foul, so it's going to be 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Oh, wow. That is a huge penalty.
Again, another penalty for Yorktown. We were talking about it earlier, how both these teams were doing better with less penalties in this second half compared to that first half. But a big one there. Across midfield are the Eagles, getting near the 2-minute warning. Handoff in the backfield, shedding one tackler. That's Spiegel running to his left, met up by a couple of Tigers, and a flag being thrown.
Might have a late hit here.
From the referee in the backfield.
That was thrown after the play.
Oh, it's a face mask. Oh, my goodness. Yorktown really is letting Delta back in this game. Coach Wilhelm cannot be happy. That is yet another penalty for Yorktown, another huge penalty against Yorktown. And twice now, Yorktown has had a chance to seal this victory, and they have given it back to Delta. And on this drive, they're penalizing themselves and allowing Delta to just easily go right down the field.
Luckily for Yorktown, that was only a 5-yard face mask penalty, but you're right, Tony. The Tigers doing their best to let Delta back into this thing.
2 minutes to play here in the ball game. Delta trailing by 2 touchdowns. Throw across the middle, tripped up. Getting a hand in there is Trey Cates.
Yep. And Trey Cates knows he should have had that one. That went right through his hands. Good play, though, deflecting the pass away from Stone. That'll bring up a second down, but, boy, that was close. That, dare I say it, would have sealed the game had he picked that off. Maybe.
At some point here, Delta's going to have to take some semblance of a shot downfield. They haven't really yet this drive.
They really haven't.
Time is running out.
Yeah,
I mean, you're going to have to take a shot eventually.
They haven't really taken a big shot at all in this game. We need to see Cade Jones launch one down the field. You have a good size advantage with Stone. Let's see what they do.
Pitch out to the right side. Spiegel gets away from one tackler. He's across the 40 to the 35. Another flag thrown by the referee in the backfield. And it's a push in the back against Delta.
I was waiting for that. I saw that one called. I don't know. I don't think they called what I saw, but either way, it's going to be a block in the back for Delta. Another penalty. And for what we've been saying about Yorktown getting penalized, same deal for Delta.
It's like the referees heard us saying, hey, these teams have been less penalized here in the second half.
And so here,
because the yellow flags have been thrown everywhere on this drive.
Especially here with just under 2 minutes left. That's the thing, getting kind of sloppy here at the end of this game.
1:51 to play. Yorktown looking to defeat their rivals here at Tiger Stadium for the first time in 8 years. Second and 20. Pump fake. Now Jones launching it down left field, and it is right out of the stretched arms of Jacob Stevenson as he was on the coverage along with Ryan Morrow. Intended receiver was Tate Stone.
There were 4 camouflage jerseys in the area there, and we talked about, Delta needing to take a shot. Cade Jones essentially there just threw up a prayer and hoped that his 6'5" receiver would come down with it. It landed nowhere near Tate Stone, and luckily that ball wasn't picked off for Delta.
Either way, though, excellent coverage that time by Jacob Stevenson. I'm getting thrown off because he changed his number as well. But we played the route very, very well. Didn't jump on anything short that Stone tried to show. Stayed on the deep route and was right there to make the play.
Play clock down to 2 as Jones takes the snap. Throw to the left side. Caught by Stone near the 37-yard line. He's tackled there.
That'll bring up another 4th down.
They're going to wind the clock, too. They ruled that he did not get out of bounds.
Clock still moving. 1:20 to play here in the ball game.
So would you guys agree that the coffin is definitely sealed now? Or
It's pretty close.
Okay.
It's pretty close. And now
I feel like every time we say that, though, something happens to bring Delta back into this game.
I'm not sure what's going on. Delta's taking their time like they're up 26.
Do they not know that the clock is still moving?
Maybe they think the coffin's sealed.
Jones takes the snap. Pressured, rolls out to the right, still on the move, looking to throw it. Gets hit as he throws it, and will go out of bounds.
That's the ball game.
Turnover on downs, and yes, Dan, there we go. Coffin is nailed now.
With 47 seconds to go, even if Yorktown somehow gives Delta the ball back, there's no way they're going to put up 14 points in 47 seconds. That would be unheard of.
Especially the way that Delta's offense overall has looked tonight, especially throwing the ball. It would take a miracle from God himself to win this game for Delta. But no, you give all credit to Yorktown. They certainly earned this win, and happy for Coach Wilhelm. 3 out of 4 years now, Yorktown victorious in this game.
Yeah.
And they won last year also.
Yep, that's right. Neal will take a kneel. Flags.
Oh, my goodness. Another flag.
False start.
What?
How?
He was talking to the referee.
Coach Wilhelm is looking at the referee. He's like, what?
I'm looking at the referee like, what? That's victory formation. All you're doing is taking a knee, and there's a false start. I don't even know that's possible. Man, wow, interesting call. This interesting end to this game.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's for sure. Well, let's see if they can get it without a false start. There it is. Neal will take a final knee, and the clock will wind down.
I think I'll have to take one more here.
Yeah, he will.
Unless they don't wind the play clock, they might. Yeah, they just have to take one more knee here.
Yorktown student section, cheerleaders chanting, "This is our field." For the first time since 2006, Yorktown wins at home against the Delta Eagles. Your final score here from Tiger Stadium, Yorktown 20, Delta 6.
These two teams made it interesting towards the end of this game, but really give credit to the Yorktown Tigers. They were able to control the pace of this game, got their running game going, which is excellent to see after that dismal performance last week against New Pal. They made it an emphasis on getting the running game going. They did that tonight. Excellent balance on offense. Good work by the Yorktown Tigers.
Yeah, and if you're Delta, you just wish you could have put on a better performance in that first half. They just dug themselves too deep of a hole against Yorktown here tonight. In the second half, I thought they showed some fight. I thought the offensive line played better. Certainly they ran the ball better. Kate Jones made a few more throws, but just too much to overcome. Asking Kate Jones to come back from 20-0 down at the half, and you just wish if you're a Delta fan they could have played a little bit better in that first half. But give all credit to Riley Neal in Yorktown. I thought Riley Neal was phenomenal tonight, both passing the ball and running it. And give credit to Yorktown. They controlled the game in the trenches. They won the battle in the trenches and ultimately won the football game.
Yorktown advances to 3-1 on the season, and they pick up their first conference win of the season. Delta will drop to 2-2 in 2014, and they are now 1-1 in the Hoosier Heritage Conference. Your final score as the Yorktown Tigers will celebrate singing their fight song, 20-6. Yorktown wins on Indiana National Guard Night. Your postgame show coming up next here on DelawareCountyVoice.com.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Indiana knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The town of Yorktown is blessed with a little library with a big heart, offering the latest bestsellers, new release movies, books on CD, magazines along with computer classes, book clubs for adults and young adults, reading programs, story time, and much, much, much more. Take a moment to see the wonders within the walls of the Yorktown Library, 8920 Adeline Street in Yorktown, or visit online at yorktownlib.org. Cardinal Foot and Ankle is a proud sponsor of Yorktown Volleyball and Delaware County Voice. Dr. Todd Reed and his staff at Cardinal Foot and Ankle provide comprehensive podiatry and foot and ankle care. From sports injuries and fractures of the foot and ankle to diabetic foot complications and reconstructive surgery, Dr. Reed has been serving Muncie and East Central Indiana for nearly 20 years. Don't suffer with foot and ankle pain. See the experts at Cardinal Foot and Ankle.
There's still a place. There's still a place where performance is enhanced by extra effort, not by performance-enhancing drugs. There's still a place where contracts are between coaches and players. The terms are non-negotiable. There's still a place where an edge is something you gain by working harder than your opponent. There's still a place where sport is pure. That place is the high school in your community. At the Indiana High School Athletic Association, we believe that while competition can be fierce, it doesn't change the fact that it's only a game. The goal may be to win, but the point is to have fun. And if you want to be reminded of just how great sports can be when they're played the right way, then the place to be is at a high school sporting event in your community. High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message made possible by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The Tigers have won! Sectional 80-68. The Tigers knock off the number 3 ranked Bishop Lors. For over 5 years, the Voice Sports Network has brought you coverage of high school sports in Northeast and East Central Indiana.
Arias breaks a tackle, gets to the outside. Boom, big block by Travis Pro, touchdown. Arias Vasquez, wow.
Since the start in 2009, the Voice Sports Network has expanded to 6 different websites in Wells County, Adams County, Allen County, Delaware County, DeKalb County, and Blackford County, bringing you broadcasts of football, volleyball, boys and girls basketball, baseball, and softball for 17 different high schools.
Back by Gillis as a sophomore, and Yorktown has it. Kastner will give it a go. Boom! Marley Kastner.
Thanks to the fans and sponsors for the continued support of the Voice Sports Network.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Indiana. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. They are role models and educators. Their work requires a great deal of time and energy for very little pay. Who are these unsung heroes?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
The simple truth about education-based athletics in Indiana is this. Without a committed team of coaches and administrators, it just wouldn't be possible. School sports, they bring out the best in all of us. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
SOS Carpet Cleaning is a locally owned carpet cleaning company established in 2006. They're certified by the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, and Restoration in carpet cleaning as well as emergency water restoration. They're certain you'll find their service the best that the Muncie and surrounding area has to offer. Customer service and satisfactions are qualities of business they feel are most important, and unfortunately, there's been a decline in these areas, and they're ready to prove that they still exist. Give SOS Carpet Cleaning a call for carpet cleaning or water damage needs. 765-289-0900. Greek's Pizzeria in the Village, serving Muncie and Ball State for 35 years. Stop in and taste the difference of dough made fresh daily and the finest ingredients. Located in the Ball State Village at 1600 West University. Our menu is online at greekspizzeria.com or call us at 765-284-4900. That's 284-4900. It's our taste. Greek's Pizzeria in the Village. Mobile King is your AT&T authorized dealer with locations in Bluffton, Decatur, Huntington, New Haven, and Fort Wayne. And right now, you can get a smartphone for $0 down with AT&T Next, a new way to get a new device every year with no down payment, no activation fee, no upgrade fee, no finance fee. AT&T Next. Visit your local Mobile King for complete details or visit online at mymobileking.com. Requires a 12-month 0% APR installment agreement and qualifying credit. Wireless service plan required.
If an individual student athlete or team wins a high school state championship, it's an amazing thing. It's also just the icing on the cake. That's because young people in Indiana who participate in education-based athletics are already winners. Studies show that win or lose, participation helps to impart skills they can use to enjoy greater success in other areas of their lives. School sports teach the benefits of teamwork, the value of self-motivation, and the importance of accountability. They also help to foster stronger work habits and higher levels of self-esteem. In other words, the true value of school sports can't be measured in terms of wins or losses. If an individual or team goes to state, it's an incredible accomplishment. But regardless of the outcome, today's student athletes are already destined to go far. School sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
SOS Carpet Cleaning is a locally owned carpet cleaning company established in 2006. They're certain that you'll find their services the best that the Muncie and surrounding area has to offer. Customer service and satisfaction are qualities of business they feel are most important. Give them a call for your carpet cleaning or water damage needs. 765-289-0900. SOS Carpet Cleaning, 289-0900. Proud supporter of Delta and Yorktown football and volleyball on Delaware County Voice.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit IHSAA.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
Interact with Delaware County Voice through social media. Like us on Facebook, simply search Delaware County Voice. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Delaware Co-Voice. We'll let you know of any breaking news from the schools in the county, when our next broadcasts are, and post updates during the games. DelawareCountyVoice.com on Facebook and Twitter.
Post-game show on DCB, brought to you by the Greeks Pizzeria in the Village, located at 1600 West University. Taste the difference of their fresh dough made daily, and don't forget about the breadsticks. See their full menu online at GreeksPizzeria.com. Welcome back to Tiger Stadium. Robert Connett, Tony Sandleben, Peter Hood, Dan Jacobson. Got us all in, right? We're good. We're good.
Big crew tonight.
Big crew for a big game. Yorktown and Delta. And for the first time in 8 years, guys, the Tigers defeat Delta on their home field. We saw at the end of the game, Yorktown student section chanting, "This is our field." They dominated this game here tonight for their first conference win of 2014.
Yeah, and it's good to see Yorktown defend their home turf finally against Delta. You know, you mentioned 8 years. That's a crazy statistic. Boy, I hate that word. But you mentioned it, Rob. We saw a lot of really good things from the Yorktown Tigers. Riley Neal finished 17 of 26 for 209 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had that pick. But, Peter, what you were talking about, that triple that you coined tonight, that happened. In addition to the 209 passing yards, Riley Neal had 20 carries, a touchdown, and 101 yards. So just got that new triple stat line that we've created, and so some good things definitely happening tonight.
And keep in mind, coming into this game, Riley Neal on the season, rushing yards, 56.
I was just going to say, I'm guessing that's a career high in rushing for him. I thought Yorktown overall did exactly what they wanted to do. I thought the offensive line got in rhythm early. I thought they did a nice job throughout the game of controlling the line of scrimmage. Riley Neal was certainly phenomenal in running the offense, both passing and throwing. They really had great balance tonight, which is something that I think they kind of lacked in the first 3 games of the season. I think for the most part, Riley Neal kind of did his thing through the air, but they didn't have that balance that they were looking for through the first 3 games. And I thought tonight they had great balance, both with Riley Neal running the ball, and Peyton Stites looked good running the ball as well, and his first game really back in the starting lineup role. And I think Yorktown definitely earned this win from a Delta perspective. Certainly wish they would have played a little bit better in that first half, but played better in the second half, and some things to build off of going forward.
Yeah, and certainly we mentioned some good things also from Delta's side of the field. I mean, they came out and looked very, very strong in the third quarter. As you mentioned, Peter, that they do on a regular basis. They came out, made a great stop on 4th and short against this high-powered Yorktown offense, then marched right down the field and scored. Unfortunately for them, they just couldn't keep it up. They got another defensive stop, but then couldn't get the ball back into the end zone, got stopped on 4th down again. And after that first initial drive, they had success on that next one, but as I mentioned, stopped on 4th down, and really just that pretty much did it for them. They couldn't, stayed in it late, but didn't quite pull it out.
Yeah, and if you're Delta, again, you have some positive things to build off of from that second half. I thought, again, the offensive line did a better job in that second half of kind of pushing back and kind of establishing themselves. again, this is a Delta offense, and we didn't get to talk a whole lot about this, but they're kind of breaking in a new offense this year. They previously had a kind of a three-back misdirection type scheme, and now they're more of a downhill running attack because of the bigger offensive line that they have. Well, the bigger offensive line didn't really perform in the first half. I thought in the second half they did a lot better. But again, we talked about it early in the broadcast. So tough for a team that likes to run the ball to come back from a 20-0 or something of that nature deficit because you just don't have the type of offense necessary to make those big comebacks.
Yeah, and the thing is, Delta still managed to get a decent running game going. They finished with 145 total yards on the ground, but that's way, way below their season average that they were coming into of 252. The other big stat line to point out, Tate Stone, their big-time receiver who came in averaging 107 yards receiving per game, had 3 catches for 36 yards. Huge, huge, huge stat line for the Yorktown Tigers, able to keep him under wraps and really made him a non-factor throughout the entire game until kind of the garbage yardage at the end of the game. That will definitely be something that that Delta is going to want to fix as the season goes on. You want to keep your playmakers in the game plan, continue to have them to be big factors. Yorktown shut down Stone and really kind of expose this offense in the sense that if they don't get out to that quick start and don't really get into a rhythm, they struggle. And they really couldn't throw the ball. The running game didn't get to where they usually want it to be, and Spiegel only finished with 76 yards, which again isn't bad, but you look at what he averages, 153 yards per game. Every stat line for the Delta Eagles was below average tonight.
And we talked about in the pregame show how Yorktown's defense has to look for a bounce-back game after they let New Pal run all over them last week. Guys, I think they got that bounce-back game. Again, like you mentioned, you hold Joe Spiegel below his rushing average per game. You hold Tate Stone well below his receiving yards per game average. Again, he's the top receiver in the conference, over 100 receiving yards per game. He finishes with just 3 catches, all of them in that second half, with just 36 yards. Cade Jones, 6 of 16, with just 61 passing yards here tonight. A nice job by the Yorktown defense. Big win for them. They're probably celebrating this a lot in the locker rooms. Not only do you just defeat your rival on your home field for the first time since 2006, but that first conference win as well. All in all, this was a huge win for the Yorktown Tigers.
Yeah, and the Yorktown Tigers defense, Rob, you said it, they made a statement tonight. They get a big win against their crosstown rival. They get a conference win, but they also bounced back from adversity. We were there, Rob, at that New Pal game last week, and it as professional as I can say this, it wasn't pretty. I mean, New Pal really just torched Yorktown's defense, and the final score said it all. So a lot of things that Yorktown really had to improve upon from last week. A good opponent here tonight in Delta. We talked about it the whole pregame show. They run the ball. They are a very strong offensive team. They also have an excellent defense. And Yorktown dominated this game, especially in the first half.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and without talking to having talked to Coach Wilhelm about this, I'm sure that one of their goals at the beginning of the season was to try to win this conference. And certainly, New Pal is the team to beat. That's pretty obvious right now. But if you're Yorktown, you want to focus on winning out. You've got several winnable games. They've already played it, in my mind, their 2 toughest opponents in this conference. Their first 2 conference games against New Pal and Delta are probably going to be the 2 toughest conference games that they play. So if you're Yorktown, again, you want to try to run the table, and you never know. If New Pal gets upset somewhere down the line, maybe a shared conference title somewhere in the cards for Yorktown. But yeah, I'm sure that was a goal for them at the beginning of the season, and they took a step toward possibly achieving that tonight. A huge win over Delta, because certainly if Yorktown had lost this game, would have been no shot of them trying to claim a conference crown.
Yeah, and you look at that schedule for the rest of this season for Yorktown. You're at Newcastle, the newcomer of the HHC this year. They've been struggling. Their program has been struggling in the recent years. Not bad of a team in 2014, though. You can't overlook the Trojans, especially on their home field next week for the Yorktown Tigers. Home against Shelbyville, and then 2 road games at Greenfield Central, at Pendleton Heights. And then, guys, something that I've been looking forward to since the schedule was released. Yorktown finishes the regular season against Mount Vernon, a game that's usually scheduled to open up the conference schedule like it was last year. Instead, you're finishing the conference schedule. And like you said, Peter, you never know. When you come down to that October 17th day, maybe Yorktown is in position to win a conference title. That's way down the road.
Right.
But then, again, you have to take one game at a time. But like you guys mentioned, a big win here tonight helps Yorktown move on and realize, hey, this was a very tough game on the schedule. We checked it off. Now we move on to the next one. That shot at the conference title is still up there.
And looking at the rest of the conference tonight, these games have gone final now. New Pal 31-3 over Mount Vernon, so the Dragons continue to roll. Shelbyville wins 49-18 over Newcastle. I was very impressed with the way Shelbyville played at Delta last week, and they followed that up with a 49-point performance. That's an offense that have been struggling coming into the night. They put up 49 points on Newcastle to win that game. And then I'm going to see if this one's gone final yet, but a few minutes ago it was 28-21 Greenfield Central over Pendleton Heights with 2 minutes to go. Pendleton Heights had the ball, but I'm going to check to see if that one's final yet. But
that could be interesting as well.
Yes.
For the Delta Eagles, you look at their schedule, you talk about that Mount Vernon team. That is who they play next. Luckily for the Eagles, they're back at home next Friday night, taking on a very tough Mount Vernon team, as always. Class 4A and the Marauders always have a good football program. And then you're at Newcastle, 2 home games against Pendleton Heights and Greenfield Central, and then they finish out the regular season at New Pal. That is a tough way to finish your conference schedule and your regular season. Like we said, you're taking one game at a time, but it's always interesting to look down the road for these teams and see that, with Yorktown winning this, now they're 1-1 in the conference. Delta loses tonight, they're 1-1 in the conference. A lot of shakeup can happen in the next couple of weeks.
I actually think every team other than New Pal is 1-1 in the conference because Greenfield Central did in fact beat Pendleton Heights. Heights beat Newcastle last week. Well, no, Newcastle would be 0-2.
Yeah,
Newcastle would be 0-2. So Newcastle's 0-2. New Pal's 2-0. Every other team in the conference is now 1-1.
Very interesting.
Moving forward.
So this is, again, a big win for the Yorktown Tigers here tonight. And for Coach Wilhelm, he is now 4-6 in his career as Yorktown's head coach against the Delta Eagles. The most impressive thing, guys, 3 of the last 4 years now, Yorktown has beaten the Delta Eagles.
The Riley Neal era.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. And so that's going to end our broadcast here tonight as, again, Yorktown defeats Delta by a score of 20-6. Both teams now 1-1 in the Hoosier Heritage Conference. As Yorktown moves to 3-1 on the season, Delta is now 2-2. Thank you to everyone tuning in tonight. A big night for us here on DelawareCountyVoice.com. It continues tomorrow morning for Tony and I. The Delta Volleyball Extravaganza. Delta and Yorktown competing in that invitational starting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So we're going to go and get some rest and then right back over to Delta for a full day of high school volleyball. Again, shout-outs to guys like Caleb Taylor tuning in from Tennessee. We had some guys.
Jacob Wagner.
Yeah, Jacob Wagner in Chicago tuning in. A lot of past guys that have played for these teams tuning into tonight's broadcast. Thanks to everyone making us a part of your Friday night activities. Again, next Friday, Yorktown will be on the road at Newcastle, and the Delta Eagles return home against the Mount Vernon Fortville Marauders. Both of those games right here on the home of both Delta and Yorktown athletics right here, DelawareCountyVoice.com. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for tuning in. For Peter Hood, Dan Jacobson, Tony Sandleben, I'm Robert Connett. Enjoy the rest of your night. Good night.